holiday invitations and save 60% on custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. During Staples Holiday Deals, it's not about the ho-ho-ho, it's about saving dough. Save 60% on custom cards, invitations, and photo gifts today at Staples. Ends 12/2. Visit staples.com/print for more details.
Black Friday is now a game day. The Dolphins take on the Jets in the first ever Black Friday NFL game. Stream for free only on Prime. Black Friday football. Dolphins versus Jets. Coverage begins this Friday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Only on Prime. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/watch Black Friday football for details.
Attention Tucson. Remember, if it's game day and the Wildcats are taking the floor, you can count on 1290 to bring you all the play-by-play action, the biggest pre- and post-game show in the Pac-12. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
KCUE Tucson, a Cumulus media station.
The Wildcats Radio 1290 studios are brought to you by Casino del Sol, Soul Sports, Bet Easy, Win Big, Bet Local. Arizona men's basketball plays here. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
38-35 Wildcats, clock running, second down.
See how sweet this is?
Yeah.
And this is what the freshmen are going to see right now. They're going to say, okay, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool.
And it's been a while since we've been able to feel this good.
Yeah.
In this rivalry game.
Look at the stadium, too. I mean, it's just alive. It's awesome.
Delores waiting till the last second to get it off, and then he'll go to a knee, and that's it. It is over. The losing streak is over to the Sun Devils. The Wildcats will own the cup. ASU's 9th loss, the most in program history. And the Wildcats will finish 5-7.
Yes, sir.
And they will feel really good going to off-season. And I'm glad to see a number of the players on both sides out to the middle of the field to shake hands. That's what it's all about.
Yep. You got to have sportsmanship before you send them back to Tempe.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Arizona 38, ASU 35. That's your final here at the stadium. The cup is back in T-Town.
Bring it back.
Well, for these seniors.
Here comes the fans.
These seniors, you know, there's guys that had never beaten ASU, and those are the ones you really feel for today. You feel so happy for them.
Absolutely.
And this is just one that, you know, they'll be able to take with them for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
And when they're back to visit you later, Lamont, you can reminisce about this one.
That's right. And this one's for the fans, too. And I love it. I love to see them come out on the field and get to celebrate with their team. It's awesome.
You got to have sportsmanship before you send them back to Tempe. Lamont, love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Great stuff there from last year's win by the Arizona Wildcats in the Territorial Cup Series. It is Territorial Cup week in Arizona. The Wildcats and the Sun Devils, we are just less than 5 days away from kickoff at Mountain America, whatever stadium they're calling it now, up in Tempe, corporate America, where the Wildcats will look to win 2 games in a row in this series for the first time since 2008, 2009. Now, this whole week, I want to be about memories of the Territorial Cup. What are your memories of this Territorial Cup series? And you can start calling in now. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290, the number to get in on the program. I mentioned the last time the Wildcats won 2 in a row, 2008, 2009. Those were my first 2 Territorial Cup games here. So I got off to a pretty good start in this thing. 2008, the play that stands out to me, the punt return by Money Mike Thomas in the second half to kind of ice the game. I believe it was right around maybe 24-10 or 17-10 at that time, and Money Mike takes the kickoff and takes it back for the touchdown. So that was a memory. And then the next year, they go up to Tempe and win. In fact, the first two times that I was a part of this series, when they went to Tempe, they won. 2009, 2011, the Tim Kish team, the Bryson Burney team, the Bryson Burney coming in the fourth quarter, leading you to victory. I think Shaq Richardson had an interception in the end zone to seal that game, if I remember it correctly. So, yeah, the first three of the first four games I was involved with, the Wildcats won. It's been a slippery slope, though, over the course, obviously, of the last 10 years or so. Sun Devils won 5 in a row during the tail end of the Rich Rod, all the Sumlin years, and the beginning of the Jed Fish tenure until that game last year. So since I've been here, let's see, it's 3, 4, 5, 6 wins and 9 losses. Since I've been here in 2008, 6 and 9 in favor of the kids from the North, and the Wildcats have not won there since that game in 2011. It has been 12 years since Arizona stepped on the field in Tempe and won a football game. That is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight losses. So it was 5 straight losses overall before last year, and now still 5 straight losses on the road in Tempe. Territorial Cup game number 97. We're getting close to 100. 50 wins for Arizona, 45 wins for Arizona State, 1 tie in the series. What are your memories of this big game? I just shared you my first, and there have been quite a few in the 16 or 15 years that I've covered this game. But Money Mike Thomas, little number 10 in 2008, taking the kickback for the touchdown, is my first lasting memory of this series. Now, a lot of you go way back further than me, so I want to hear from you all week long. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. I'm David Kelly. We've got J.W. Madden. He is here. You can hear his voice. You cannot see him currently on any of the streams. We thought we had that worked out, but apparently we didn't have that worked out heading into today. But J.W. is here, and we will talk later in the program with Lamonte Hunley. Lamonte Hunley, a longtime Arizona Wildcats player and has lived in this community, owns a business in this community. I'm sure he'll have some stories to tell as well about the Territorial Cup Series, that games that he was a part of as a player, games that he has seen since. All right, you can get in on the program with that call at 520-848-1290. You can also text us at that number, 520-848-1290. Let's start with Lee. You're on Wildcats Radio 1290. It's DK on the Sports Tip.
Yeah, on my phone or on the yeah, I guess I'm on the phone.
You are on the air, Lee. Go for it.
All right, cool. So the most amazing thing was Dick Tomey had a streak of 6-0-1 back in the late 80s. And that's a streak. But then as far as the individual game, when Chuck Cecil intercepted in the end zone, went over 100 yards for the touchdown, they beat ASU at home. And the worst memory was when Sumlin had the big lead and we lost the game on the last
14 points. I think we were up 14 points in the second half, or the fourth quarter, I believe, and lost that game. Yeah, that was a tough one. That was indeed a tough one, Lee.
Kind of a turning point for someone, maybe.
So, what was your first memory? Share your first memory again of this series.
Well, when Dick Tomey took them through a streak of 6 wins and 1 tie over 7 games.
No, that was. I think
80s.
that was both Dick Tomey and Larry Smith.
Oh,
That was
okay.
both of them. Yeah, Larry
Sorry.
Smith. Larry Smith started that streak in 1982, and then
Okay,
obviously
thank you
he
for-
left. He left after I believe it was the 1986 season after they'd won 5 in a row, and then Dick Tomey came in, and they had the tie in '87, and then he won the next 3 years. So yeah, it was a 9-year stretch.
Oh, wow, that's a lot. That's great.
Yeah, 8-1,
Thank you for correcting that.
8-0-1 over a 9-year stretch. The streak, indeed. Is there a play in particular? I mean, obviously there were some great plays in that streak. I mean, the most iconic play in the history of this program happened during that streak. Chuck Cecil's famed interception return came during that streak. Are there any other great plays in that tenure of years that you remember that stand out to you?
Unfortunately, I don't. No.
You just remember the fact that there was not many losses, if any.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Lee, hey, we appreciate you checking in today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
That's what we
Love you
want to
guys.
hear,
Take care.
folks. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear your memories this week about this fabled game between these two universities. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. J-Dub, what is your first memory of this series?
Honestly, it probably is the Cecil return, 106 yards, because I was like 10 or 11 at the time, and I just remember the whole city buzzing. Right? I mean, it was a transcendent moment where it's all anybody was talking about. It was such a water cooler moment. Obviously, the big win over the rival, but that play and Cecil just as a player, right, just was so polar. He just was all over the place, the big hits, and obviously such a great a DB. And I just think that play, as far as my memory goes, DK, being a young person, that's all anybody was talking about for the longest time. So definitely that was my first big memory. My era, like when I was in high school and then going to the U of A, it might have been, that whole era with Richard Dice and all of that, that whole series of events. So, I mean, I think I remember the losses like that. The obviously the one that caller Lee mentioned about the Sumlin, that was such a painful loss. The blowout from 2 years ago, I put that away pretty fast. I was here, obviously, for the post game for that. That was a long night. But I think, to me, my lasting memory is the stories that I hear from all the great players that we've been able to have had the luxury of having contact with and having interviews with over the years. I've been here now 8-9 years, and we've talked to so many former Cats and get to hear their stories and sharing their emotions and their brotherhood, and going to war and all those moments that my lasting memory, DK, honestly, is just the stories from the former players, because it just means so much.
Yeah. And what was great about, I think, my first game in 2008 was that there had been, and I hadn't been here, but for that season, but there had been a lot of losing that had taken place, kind of like last year. There had been a lot of losing that had taken place for a number of years during the John Makovic era, during the beginning portions of the Mike Stoops era, as he was trying to get this thing turned around. And the Wildcats were able to, I think they went into that game 5-5, and Money Mike took that kick back to get that win, and it clinched the first winning season in 10 years for this program. They had not had a winning season for 10 years, and that was what was so great about that particular night. The Las Vegas Bowl came after that, and then the Wildcats beat BYU, and that was at the point Mike Stoops kind of had it rolling there. 2008, 2009, 2010, then unfortunately things kind of started falling apart at the end of the 2010 season and then the beginning of the 2011 season. But that game right there, 31-10, a 3-touchdown win, that was my first memory of the Territorial Cup game. All right. I think I mentioned you cannot see J-Dub, but you can see Cricket. Hello, Cricket.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Welcome to Monday, to Thanksgiving week. Cricket, have you ever been to a Territorial Cup game?
No.
Between Arizona and Arizona State?
No.
Okay, so we got to make sure that add that to the list, J-Dub. We got to get ticket to a Territorial Cup game at some point. Have you ever watched one with your dad or anything? Or
maybe I have.
Yeah. Is there anything that kind of stand? Do you remember growing up and people getting crazy this week about this game?
For sure. I just remember this week being just all sorts of aspects of this week. Very exciting.
What was school like? What was going to school like here in Tucson as kids during this week? Was it like? Did you have ASU kids in your class, and did you want to just beat them up or something?
JW can speak to that, maybe. Maybe JW can speak to that.
were there any kids at Catalina that showed up wearing cardinal and gold or anything?
No, I mean,
whatever
I didn't
they
really
call it up there.
We didn't have a lot of interactions with that. I will say, I was at the Steve Kerr Moment of Silence game, and I was, present for the whole, PLO thing, and to me, that was the spark for me it was a small portion of the ASU crowd that did those unthinkable things during that stretch. But my biggest memory, and now, I was 10 or 11 at the time of that as well. But as far as the football rivalry is concerned, again, I really connected with it through the stories that you would hear. Richard Dice is a big one, and obviously Chuck. But yeah, there wasn't maybe if there were Sun Devil alumni who had children that I went to school with, but they weren't allowed to wear Sun Devil gear on the week, especially on this week. So yeah, there wasn't a lot of fights in the parking lot because kids' parents went to different schools now.
Do you have any friends, Cricket, that went to ASU?
I think a couple.
A couple. Do you really like them?
I do. I do like them, and I like them so much that I kind of let that slide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? That's okay because you're cool, man.
All right. Well, she's got some ASU friends. All right. So next year, we're going to make sure that we've got tickets for cricket. How about that?
Yeah. How do we do that?
Tickets for cricket.
Tickets
to
for
the ASU
cricket
game, right? She always is giving away the tickets. We're going to make sure she gets some tickets next year, and you'll have to go.
Okay.
Okay. You have to go and watch the game. Take one of your best friends, or
take
your nephew. Man, maybe your nephew might want to go. Is he a football guy?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think he would really like it. Watching the game with his auntie. Does he call you auntie, or what's he?
He calls me TT.
TT. Now, how did that? Tell me about that story.
He couldn't. I don't think he could pronounce my name or auntie or Christina. So I think he just, as a kid, probably at 2, maybe I was one of his first words. I was like, "What are you saying?" And so we kind of figured out it was TT. So
TT.
He still calls me that, and his younger sisters call me that too.
Okay.
And so I wear that name very proudly. It's childish, but I love it.
All right, TT. I've heard a lot of different names for aunts and grandmas and that kind of thing, but I've never heard TT. That's a good one. All right, TT getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic.
That makes me happy. From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. Some busy traffic westbound Valencia at I-19, Ahaway west of I-19, near Grant and Columbus, also Swan and Grant, and heads up with reported collisions, Ahaway west of I-19, Alvernon south of Broadway, and Euclid north of Speedway. 51 are overnight low and clear skies, sunny and 72 tomorrow and 67 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together.
Sponsored by
Here at Alaskan AC, we believe every kid in town should have a toy under the tree this Christmas.
And we know you believe that too. So does the United States Marine Corps.
Let's bring that all together and make a big
and prizes at Desert Diamond Casino Sahuarita. Fridays in November and December, there are 4 winners every hour.
That's true, Tucson.
Choose or exchange your gift to win up to $750 free play or over $2,500 cash. It's holiday gift grab only at Desert Diamond Sahuarita.
True.
An enterprise of the Thornhill Automation.
See Rewards Center for details.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save.
Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Hi, it's Floyd, the family man with the family plan. Outdated HVAC systems will drive up your electric bill, drain your wallet, and peace of mind. Save now at Goodfellas with no payments or interest till 2024. Get a 30% federal tax credit, up to $2,000 off qualifying heat pumps. Trust Goodfellas. We're locally owned with thousands of 5-star reviews. Good service, good prices, Goodfellas. Visit us at goodfellasac.com to schedule a no-cost estimate.
When it comes to healthcare, imaging makes all the difference. Don't stand in line or wait for weeks to get that much-needed MRI or X-ray. At Southern Arizona Radiology Associates, we offer multiple exams like MRI, CT, mammograms, and biopsies, serving Sierra Vista and the surrounding communities for over 30 years. With locations in Sierra Vista, Green Valley, and Tucson. Call 520-335-6849. Southern Arizona Radiology Associates. Superior imaging, superior care.
For all the latest news from Arizona Stadium, McHale Center, and High Corbin Field, make sure to like us on Facebook at Wildcats 1290. This is the exclusive home of Arizona Athletics. Wildcats Radio 1290.
He's kind and he's funny and he's also mustachioed. He solves all your problems by the end of every episode. TV Dad. Everyone loves TV Dad. TV Dad. Unlike your real dad, he never hollers. And he tells you how Progressive can save you lots of dollars.
Listen to your TV Dad. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Second down and 3. Checks with the far side. See if they want to change anything. They'll take the snap and hand off Wiley. Big hole. Wiley to the 40. Wiley is gone. 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Arizona.
Wiley shot out of a cannon right up the gut. There's a gaping hole. No one touches him on his way to the end zone. Big time play for Arizona. That's the way you start out this game.
51 yards. Second longest run of the year for Michael Wiley. And the Wildcats strike first, leading 6-0.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
What a game Michael Wiley had last year against the Arizona State Sun Devils here at the stadium. And I've said it once before this season. I'll say it again. I mean, his fingerprints are on every single big win that the Wildcats have had at home in recent years. I mean, he scored the game-winning touchdown in the victory over California in 2021 to end that long losing streak, and he scored 3 touchdowns in that game against Arizona State, running for 214 yards that day. And then you come in this year, he had, he played so big in the win over Oregon State a few weeks ago at the stadium in that game. And then the game against Utah this past weekend, gets 2 more touchdowns, had 2 touchdowns. In fact, Michael Wiley has 4 receiving touchdowns this season. 2 of them came in that home win over a ranked Oregon State team. The other 2 came in the home win this past weekend over a ranked Utah team. He has more receiving touchdowns this year than he does rushing touchdowns. He has just 1 rushing touchdown on the season. And so if there's a big win to be had, you're pretty sure it's going to come with a stamp of Michael Wiley on it in the last few years. It was great to see him have a performance like that on Senior Day at Arizona Stadium, getting the pass early from Tetero McMillan, taking the swing pass later from Noah Fafita into the end zone. And Traden Stukes also got that touch, got that interception in the ball game on Saturday, and a senior playing his last game on Senior Day. There's nothing better, J-Dub, than seeing guys like that get that opportunity for their final home game to make a statement.
I think when anybody shows up on campus, they're told, DK, about this rivalry and what it means. I think it's a little harder to understand that as a freshman. Maybe you get a better grasp on it as a sophomore. But the juniors and seniors, right, are the ones, especially coming off of a losing streak, especially when you're losing year in, year out to your big rival. I mean, you expect guys like Michael Wiley to step up in those moments like he did last year. Career high, right, 214 yards last year against the Sun Devils. Only 12 carries to get those. I think he had 2 huge runs of over 50 yards. But I think when you look at this team this year and the makeup, there's a lot of sophomores, right, that are in the starting lineup. That's been a big talk about this big turnaround and all this win streak and just that general attitude, especially those Servite guys. And last year, it was some of the seniors like Jerry Roberts, obviously, and junior Michael Wiley, who really stepped up to break that losing streak to the Sun Devils. So you got to have those upperclassmen, and they got to listen to guys like Kelvin Ifon and Glenn Howell, and they'll always tell the stories about what it means to them. I think over time, you might not be quite as angry about it all. You might have a little bit more perspective, but once the ball gets kicked the first time, there's no sportsmanship until after the game is over. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously within the rules of the game, but it's really just about going out there and doing whatever it takes to get that win.
The first meeting was in 1899 in the 19th century.
I don't remember that one.
The tail end of the 19th century. These two teams met for the first time on the gridiron. It was a game that was won by the Tempe Normal School at the time, 11-2. But then the Arizona Wildcats took over this rivalry, winning 9 in a row between 1902 and 1930. They played just 9 times during that 28-year stretch. And you know how many points the Sun Devils scored in those 9 games, J-Dub?
Not much.
3.
3 points.
3 points in those 9 games. There were 8 shutouts by the Arizona Wildcats in that 9-game stretch. Talk about a streak.
That's dominance.
That was the first streak.
Right.
Anybody remember that streak? I don't know. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. If you remember that streak, we definitely want to talk to you.
Yeah, and then, of course, they lost one game, and then what did they win after that? Yeah. Another 10 in a row, something
20
like
of 20. They won 20 of 21. 20 of 21 games between 1902 and 1948 did the Wildcats. Then it kind of started to turn there. Sun Devils apparently finally figured out football in the late 1940s. They would win 4 in a row, 8 of the next 11 games. Of course, their longest streak came between 1965 and 1973 when they won 9 games in a row. And then you get into the streak we mentioned that started in 1982, a 9-year streak in which the Wildcats won 8 times with 1 tie. So it has been a fairly even rivalry throughout the years, and that's what you love about football rivalries like this. Some years you're going to get them. Some years they're going to get you.
What we've all been waiting for is like a matchup like we had. Well, how many years ago was it now when both teams were vying for the Pac-12 championship?
2014.
So that's the only time I can remember in my lifetime where the final game had an impact on the conference standings, on the top 25. This is one of the greatest, I don't know, vitriol, if that's the right word, but there's a lot of animosity between these two fan bases, and certainly the players take it very seriously. I think the one downside is it seems like when Arizona is up like they are this year, ASU is not a very good football team. And that's been the case throughout most of my life, where the two teams rarely match up as top 25 teams. And the only reason I bring this up is it's kind of unfortunate that on the national stage, a lot of people don't look at this rivalry as being as big or impactful as so many others, and that's it. That's why. It's because regardless of how fierce the game is itself, if the actual standings in the conference or any kind of attempt to be able to go to one of the major bowls is not at stake, generally, when the two teams match up. So, most people want to see Tempe Normal School, because they call it that, if they're wanting the team to go with no wins.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the fan base would rather see that school up north lose every single game. I come from the other side of things where I would like to see that. I'm not rooting for them, and I would also like to see them have as good a team as possible, because guess what? When Arizona beats that team, it means that much more if that's a quality football team that you're beating.
Yeah. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. We want to hear your memories of the Territorial Cup all week long. What is your favorite game in this series? What year did it happen? JW mentioned 2014. That's obviously another game that was on my lexicon here at this school. The lone game that led to a championship of any kind, the Pac-12 South Division Championship, was on the line. Speaking of the South Division, J-Dub, do you know if there was divisions today, we'd be booking our ticket for...
It's over, yeah.
For Las Vegas.
Oregon and Washington are the only two teams ahead, right? Yeah, those are not Southern schools. So.
No. The Wildcats right now would be booking their reservations for Las Vegas next week if there were still divisions. But there's not. So some other things need to happen. We'll know Friday night. Oregon and Oregon State will play in Eugene. It's not a place the Beavers have won very often, but they would need to win, and then the Wildcats would need to be victorious in Tempe on Saturday for Arizona to be able to play in Las Vegas next week against the Washington Huskies, who clinched their spot in the Pac-12 championship game this past weekend when they beat Oregon State.
Everybody needs to bust out their Beaver jerseys on Friday. I did see that line was coming in at like 12, 14, something like that. So the Ducks are a heavily favored at home. I will say this, is that Oregon State is a pretty good ball control team. So if they can maybe find a way to get a lead or whatever with that running game, anything can happen, TK. Anything can happen.
A lot of big plays in that game in 2020 or 2014. Anthony Lopez had the early fumble return for a touchdown in that game. Samaje Grant with his cross-the-field jaunt of 69 yards for a touchdown on the pass from Anu Solomon. Nick Wilson going 72 yards up the gut. But the play, and again, it's interesting. You always, the plays to me that stand out in any big game are usually the ones that come near or at the end.
Yeah.
And the play that I think, and I've said this for a number of years, I think it's as iconic as Chuck Cecil going 106 yards. It's as iconic as James DeBow at the goal line. And think about that. Two of the most iconic plays in this series came in the same game. James DeBow and Chuck Cecil.
Yeah.
That year in 1986, if my memory serves me correctly, that was here in Tucson at the stadium. But to me, the iconic play in that 2014 game was near the end. The Sun Devils had the ball. They were going down to try to score. And the player of the year that year for the Arizona Wildcats on defense, Scooby Wright, came in on a blitz and basically took down Mike Bercovici with one hand across the chest. Well, I'll see if we can find that play. We'll put it up on the video stream. But to me, that is and the reason I've always said that people are always gonna. I think that people are always gonna put the Chuck Cecil play at the front of the line, and it's deserving of that. But that play by Scooby Wright was the play that led to a championship. There's only been one championship in the history of this program. They've played in what? The Border Conference. They've played in the Western Athletic Conference. They've played in the Pac-10. They've now played in the Pac-12. There is only one championship associated with this program, and it came in 2014, and Scooby Wright was the one that, I mean, that wasn't the last play, but it was the last defining play.
Yeah.
That stands out to you in that particular game. So to me, that play is as iconic as Chuck Cecil. You could even debate more iconic than Chuck Cecil just because of the fact it led to a championship of some sort for this program. Agree or disagree with that? 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Lots to get to. It's been a crazy day already. We had day basketball in the Bahamas today, and I sat in down at the other station, KTUC, and helped Derek Palmer with that broadcast. The ladies got a win today over South Dakota, so they get out of the Bahamas with a 2-1 record. As they come home, they've got a lengthy amount of days off. They don't play again until December 2nd. So they don't play again until next Saturday. Not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday.
Plenty of time to get healthy.
At UNLV, yeah. So they've got a lot of time to rest up, get healthy, get the fundamentals done in the gym, and get ready to go to Vegas to take on the UNLV Rebels. Wouldn't that be great to have a football game and a basketball game in Las Vegas on consecutive days? That would be a weekend to celebrate.
Go Beavers.
Go Beavers. This is DK on the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290, getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic. Here's Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. New collision reported Golf Links in Wilmot and Golf Links. The wrecks Euclid north of Speedway. Alvernon south of Broadway Boulevard. Also Ajo Way to the west of I-19. Also some slowing there as well on Ajo west of I-19 due to that collision. Some busy traffic this afternoon, Swan and Speedway, and also at Craycroft and Speedway. Clear skies, 51 are low. Sunny and 72 tomorrow and 67 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you're like many people, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive professionals. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver,
Comfort? Well, that's a slam dunk. Whether it's heating and cooling, water heaters, or a block drain, give us a call today and let us win the game for you, or visit www.rightwayac.com. Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is proud to be an official sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. If it's worth doing, do it the right way.
Wildcats Radio 1290 has been through all the ups that Wildcats fans experience.
Here comes the posse, and they sack him. Navy shirts everywhere.
They are swarming tonight.
And the downs.
Ball is loose. Bulldogs pick it up. The fourth Arizona turnover of the night.
1290 is always there by your side to bring you all the raw emotion of the moments that matter to Wildcats fans. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/radio. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/radio. That's BARTESIAN.com/radio for Bartesian's best deal ever, only at bartesian.com/radio.
How wrestling really works and how you get the ratings. Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson explain on 83 Weeks.
Wrestling right now is incredibly profitable. Do you feel like we're in a boom period with wrestling?
It's undeniable. The numbers dictate the facts. And the facts are the numbers are bigger now than they've ever been. There's more revenue being generated. There's more distribution. The product is being accepted on a mainstream level in ways heretofore we've not seen.
83 Weeks on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Get the backyard you've always wanted with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you're ready to dive in, then visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. Schedule now and get 3 months of full service free. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. First Choice Pools, the first and only choice.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SCORE for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SCORE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SCORE.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
ASU now with a first down, pistol set for Bourget. White behind him, play fake. Bourget looking to throw, looking deep, and that ball's overthrown, tipped, intercepted. Cats with the ball back the other way, out to the 20, 25, and the 30, and Arizona will take over. That's what they needed.
That's exactly what they needed, and they haven't had an interception in quite some time, but that was a big-time one, and it was great timing.
Trayton Stukes tipped it. Jackson Turner picked it. And the Wildcats take over. Well, you want to know how long, Lamont? Do you really want to know?
Yeah, might as well break it down for them.
9 games without an interception.
That's a long time.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. It is Territorial Cup week here in Arizona, and we want to hear from you, your memories of this fabulous rivalry, these games of the past. What stands out to you? You can text us at that number. You can call us at that number. This show is streaming. We are on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch at WildcatsRadio1290.com is our website, at Wildcats1290 on Twitter. We are also video streaming there. Ask Alexa to put on Wildcats 1290. You can hear the show there as well as on the iHeartRadio app. A number of different ways that you can be a part of this program, and we thank you for streaming with us every single day.
We did have one of our most loyal watchers and listeners just call in. She did not want to weigh in on the Territorial Cup because I don't think she knows what that is. But Debbie Gatewood just called in, and she did so to wish you and Cricket and myself a very happy Thanksgiving week.
Well, happy Thanksgiving back to you, Debbie. Does Debbie get out to Tucson at all? Or?
She's been here, yeah.
Okay.
She's been here before.
All right. Well,
she liked the Desert Museum, but it was a little hot when they were here.
Right. That is a nice. I've been to the Desert Museum a few times.
It's great.
Very nice place. Very nice place. All right. I was mentioning the 2011 game. That's the last time the Wildcats won in Tempe. And you'll remember the starting quarterback that year was, of course, Nick Foles, who has gone on to done great things in the National Football League, a Super Bowl champion, Arizona Wildcat. But Nick got hurt, and Bryson Burney came in to the game. Wildcats were losing 27-24 late. Got the video of this one here, so let's take a look at what happened late in the game that gave the Arizona Wildcats the lead.
Conversions with Nick Foles at the helm. The pass is caught by Kreiner. Spins free, gets the first down, headed for the end zone. Touchdown, Arizona Wildcats. Shocking. The pass by Bryson Burney. And then Kreiner did the rest.
Jerron Kreiner, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that like 6 tackles he broke there?
Yeah, he broke quite a few tackles to get into that end zone. One of the great wide receivers in this program's history. But that just goes to show you, again, I mean, Bryson Burney was not a guy that had played a whole lot of football for the University of Arizona. He had been a backup primarily his entire career, but he got into a game and he had a moment, and it's a moment that he'll remember for the rest of his life. Having a chance to go down on the road and beat the Sun Devils, it's a memory, like I said. I remember it's one of my first memories of this rivalry, the early years of this rivalry for me. It was the 4th game in this rivalry, the 3rd win. To see that team go on the road and be able to win it. And then, of course, I think Jordan Grandin had an interception late in that ball game for the Arizona Wildcats, and then there was the big interception at the end. I believe I said I think it was Shaq. There was 5 seconds left in the game, if I'm not mistaken. There were 5 seconds left in the game. It was 31-27, and the Sun Devils drove down to the 15-yard line and had one final play to try to win the game. Let's watch that one here.
Back to the well one more time. Win or bust for ASU. Knocked away.
Yeah, it was knocked away by Shaq Richardson. It was not an interception. I think I said it was an interception, but it was knocked away by Shaq Richardson at the goal line. But 2 heroes of the Territorial Cup, Jordan Grandin, Shaq Richardson, Bryson Burney, in 2011.
Somebody's got to make a play.
Yeah.
David Kelly.
Absolutely. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Memories of the Territorial Cup. What are yours? I want to hear that this week, all week long. Let's talk to Shane. You're on Wildcats Radio 1290 DK on the Sports Tip.
Well, good afternoon. I'm kind of unusual. I grew up in Phoenix, and I graduated the U of A. But I want to point out, I think Frank Cush is who made this rivalry. Frank Cush took it seriously, and he hardly ever lost to Arizona. And it was after getting pounded by Frank Cush, I think Arizona finally started taking this series seriously.
Frank Cush had some real good success. I mean, when you look at, starting in, I'm not sure exactly when he started there, but I know he was there during the stretch of games between 1965 and in 1981, where Arizona only won 2 times.
Yep. Yeah, Frank Cush took it seriously. He was a 5'6" All-American lineman. And even in 1951, I don't think 5'6" was very big.
What do you think it was about the way that he took it seriously?
He just really, he was just a really good coach, and he really understood Arizona, I think, and he was proud. Phoenix was a different city back then. Phoenix and Tucson were very similar back then.
Yeah.
And so he took it very seriously, and it made everybody wake up and take the game seriously.
Coach Cush took over in 58 as the head coach.
58.
If you think about that timing and when air conditioning and the whole big move to Phoenix and to Vegas and Tucson over that time. It might have just been DK and Shane, a simple matter of trying to close the state down, right? Because that was at a time when you're actually starting to get quite a lot more people coming out of the state of Arizona, where previously, the population was so much lower, and that was right around the area when Arizona's population started to boom. So clearly that in-state rivalry going back to the 1800s, and you're right, caller Shane, it's really a situation where that stretch of Coach Cush's dominance over the Arizona Wildcats was why that streak that Glenn Howell was a part of meant so much more to the city of Tucson.
Yeah. 16 and
Yes,
6.
I am a U of A graduate, but at the Chuck Cecil game, I was still an ASU fan. I was sitting there in the stands with roses on my sunglasses because we were going to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, that's why people remember that play so much.
Yeah, it wasn't like I said. It was a game that knocked out a team that was going to the Rose Bowl, and the Wildcats obviously had not had as successful a season, but they were able to get that win. 16 and 6, Frank Cush was in the Territorial Cup game.
Not a bad record.
Not bad. I would imagine that's probably the best ever. I don't know that there's a coach on either side that's had that much. Well, I know I can tell you there's no coach that's coached in it longer than Fred Cush's 22 years.
Well, just the 70s, early 70s, okay? You ready for this?
Yeah.
So 69, they were 8-2. They finished first in conference. 70, they were undefeated and first. They won the Peach. 71, they had one loss, undefeated in conference, won the Fiesta. 72, they had two losses. They were first in the conference, won the Fiesta Bowl. 73, they were first, tied for first at 11-1, won the Fiesta. So that's 5 consecutive conference titles during that stretch.
Didn't Frank Cush basically create the Fiesta Bowl, if I'm not mistaken?
Could be. I would have to look that one up.
Yeah. Great stuff, Shane. Hey, thank you for checking in. What do you think is going to happen this week?
We're gonna kill ASU.
There you go. I think we owe them one. That's for sure. Appreciate you, Shane. Thank you so much. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. 1971 was the first Fiesta Bowl. Arizona State played in the first 5 games. I would think that's probably how that all came together, if I'm not mistaken. Frank Cush said, hey, why don't we have our own bowl game out here? But if you know the history of that, let us know for sure. 520-848-1290. Love to hear for sure how that all came together. But Arizona State played in the first 3. They were ranked all 3 of those years. They were ranked number 8 and beat Florida State in the first ever Fiesta Bowl in 1971. They were ranked 15th and beat Missouri in the second Fiesta Bowl, and they were ranked 10th in 1973 and beat Pitt. 2 years later, at number 7 in the country, they beat number 6 Nebraska. So they won the first 4 Fiesta Bowls they played in, did the Sun Devils, losing their first one in 1977 to Penn State, 42-30. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Territorial Cup week here in Arizona. The Wildcats, the Sun Devils. Let's talk to Frank. You're on Wildcats Radio 1290. DK on the sports tip.
Yeah, I remember I think it was in night 82. Somebody called us up and said, got 2 tickets over here at Tempe. If you guys come up and get them. So we drove up there to Tempe, and we got in, and it was 2 rows up on the right at the end line. Right on the south side.
Okay.
On the south side, and so that was where Zendejas kicked the 47-yard field goal to win the game. So it was great because we were about the only Wildcat fans that were around us. But the game, I remember that game. It was so good.
That's what started the streak right there.
Yeah, I think it was. 82, and Zendejas kicked that field goal, and he was the one that kept them in the game.
Yeah,
he was. I think he hit 3 field goals, and 2 of them at the end line where we were at.
One of the most powerful.
We weren't in the end zone, but we were right at the end line, so only 2 rows up. We could hardly see the game, but we knew it. What was going on out there. It was good to see all the people and everything, but
we were just talking about Coach Cush at ASU, and obviously the streak came right on the heels of his departure. What do you remember about those years when they were struggling to beat him in the 70s?
It was frustrating. It was just so frustrating because a lot of times we had a team, and they just had a better team. They just Art Malone and Benny Malone. They had the Malone brothers just dog us.
John Jefferson?
Oh yeah,
well?
that catch. That catch that may have been, if it was replayed then, now it probably wouldn't have been a catch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those were some guys. I mean, you talk about the Malone brothers from up at Santa Cruz Valley.
Yeah.
High school out of Eloy. I mean, a little small school like that, but it's produced 4 guys that played in the NFL.
Right. And they dogged us.
Yes, they did. Frank, I appreciate you checking in.
Okay.
Thank you so much. All right, we want to hear more calls from you out there. 520-848-1290. We got 2 hours left to go with you today. We'll hear memories of the Territorial Cup game. I gave you my first one was 2008. I've been to 15 of these things now. I'll never forget. I was there, obviously, the night 70-7. I was there that night. There weren't a whole lot of us there that night. It was crazy. I was shooting actually from an aisle in a tunnel because there was no one in the stadium, so we basically could go down and shoot wherever we wanted to that night. We just couldn't be on the field, and that was not a fun night. Not a fun night, and there's some kids on this team that remember that night, and I think they're going to get their chance for some payback this Saturday in Tempe. Based on what I saw at the end of the Utah game, I would not be surprised if there's a whole lot of payback coming for Arizona State on Saturday. This is DK on the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. With reported collisions, Roger and Stone and Roger Road, Golf Links and Wilmot, Euclid, north of Speedway, Alvernon to the south of Broadway, and also Ajo Way west of I-19. Some more busy traffic at Irvington and I-19, Ajo and Mission. Also on southbound La Cholla at Ajo Way. Weather-wise, overnight clear skies, 51 the low, sunny, 72 tomorrow, and 68 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Since 2010, Blindster has sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters to satisfied customers across the country with 20,000 5-star reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Well, boss, how's the sleigh?
It's amazing. Like it just flew off the showroom floor. Sparkling clean, no chimney dust, and I've never seen his nose so bright.
Recon Auto Detailing.
Recon gift cards to all, and to all a clean ride.
Give Recon Auto Detailing gift cards, and Arizona's premier auto detailing company will come do a basic cleaning or a jaw-dropping full detail, including a ceramic finish for anyone on your list. Get your Recon Auto Detailing gift cards now online at recondetail.com.
This season, the Cats will take on the Bruins, the Ducks, the Trojans, the Beavers, the Utes, the Buffs, the Huskies, the Cougs, the Cardinal, the Bears, and the School up north on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Ryder works on top of the world, but his roofing business has hit new lows. Because when people search for roofer near me, Ryder's Roofing doesn't appear on the map, which means Ryder's Roofing is not on the map.
Cumulus Boost can help by managing Ryder's online listings, reviews, and dozens of other ways search engines determine which businesses get on the map. Cumulus Boost helps make sure Ryder gets the click. Visit cumulusboost.com to get on the map today. CUMULUS Boost.com. Cumulus Boost. Get on the map.
Pachanga. 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 Well, no matter how you say Pachanga, it's more than a party, more than a fiesta, even more than Mardi Gras. Pachanga is Tucson's own end-of-the-year never-ending super bash, including the December 30th Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl and the Taco Bell New Year's Eve Downtown Bowl Bash. Start your Pachanga journey at thearizonabowl.com.
At Goldberg and Osborne, we fight. We fight for accident victims, injured workers, abused seniors, those harmed by dogs, negligence, or malpractice. We fight the government and big corporations. And most importantly, we fight the insurance companies. We've been fighting for Arizonans since 1989. We go to court, we fight, and we win. Call Goldberg and Osborne and let the Eagle fight for you. Now accepting work injury cases.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
I'm Ron Arenas, the owner of Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. As we reflect on the Thanksgiving season, we are grateful to have been serving the Tucson area for over 22 years. Your business and consideration are much appreciated. When you need us, please call at 520-440-4069 for all your cooling, heating, and plumbing needs.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Remember to tune in to Wildcats Radio 1290 for the biggest pregame show in the Pac-12. Because that's how we roll. We go on the air 4 hours before every football and men's basketball game all season long. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We have the Arizona Wildcats covered on game day like no one else. With the biggest pre- and post-game coverage in the Pac-12. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson, duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket, getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
The other end, the ball was muffed, and the Wildcats think they've got it. So let's wait and see. We've got a penalty at one end and a potential turnover at the other. And again, the penalties against ASU, it'll be Arizona ball at the Sun Devil 40-yard line.
And it is. They run into the kicker.
DJ Warnell comes up with the football as Jacobs muffed it.
2009, I was talking about earlier as we share memories of the Territorial Cup. So Nick Foles actually won twice. That's why he's such an iconic quarterback in this rivalry, in this program. He went there and won twice, did Nick Foles.
He was also like 6'5", which is unusual for Arizona quarterbacks, and he has the all-time record for most yards passing, right?
Yeah. I mean, 2009 on a last-second field goal, that was an exciting day up in Tempe. I remember Keola Antolin had a big touchdown in that particular ball game. And we mentioned, there's been a lot of Zendejases in this rivalry on both sides that have made impacts with their foot. And it's just great. I hope there's more coming. I hope there's more Zendejas kickers coming, maybe to be a part of this rivalry in this century.
An endless supply of Zendejases.
Yeah, let's. There was some good and there was some bad. I mean, you remember Alex, beat him in 2009, but then missed the kick in 2010 here at home. So there's some happiness and sadness there. All right, we want to hear from you. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Memories of the Territorial Cup game. Let's go to, is this the legendary U of A baseballer Wes Clements on the line?
Well, I'm not sure I'm legendary, but that's my name. How are you?
Good, Wes. How are you?
Well, I'm fabulous. I was stumbling along, I would call it Twitter, but it's X. And I came across, and I just started to listen because it's ASU week.
Yeah.
And it brought back some amazing memories, from when we were playing there against ASU. I don't have any football recollection except we were in the transition from Tony Mason to Larry Smith. We won one game and we lost the other. And it was, of course, arguably, I think you could say that Ricky Hunley could be the best player that's ever played there. It was his first year in 1980. But
we'll take baseball memories too, Wes. That's fine. We can do that.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I'm not sure it's the same. I really don't know. We're in different gens, right? And it's just different. But I do know the bus ride up to Tempe, we were different. And I don't want people to take this the wrong way because it can be nowadays. But we didn't like them. And I mean, we didn't like them. We borderline hated them. And we weren't friends with them, even though, we would play in the summer ball after in different leagues in Alaska at that time and places like that. But we just didn't like them. And it was a different feeling when we hit the bus up there or when they came down to our place. And, of course, at Sanford Field, we had 10,000 fans just waiting to go berserk. But up there, I couldn't even hear my second baseman, Ronnie Quick, in between pitches.
Wow.
That's how loud it was. And so, but I'm not sure. I mean, do you get the impression that it's the same type of dislike
with the players or in the fan base?
Players.
I don't. No. I think we're in a different generation of athlete now where there's not as much of that venomous dislike for your opponent as I think there was. Like, I mean, you and I you're a little bit older than me, but we come from a little bit of different generation, I think.
Thank you for saying little. I mean, I appreciate that.
But yeah,
go ahead.
It's I don't get that it's the same. No.
Yeah, I don't either. And again, nowadays you'll get the old man screaming at the clouds and things. And I think we have to accept that it's a different generation, all right?
Yeah.
These kids only know what they know now, right? They don't know what we know. And for us to expect them to act like we acted, 3 decades ago or 4 decades ago or 2 is irresponsible on our end because this is what they're growing up with.
Yeah.
It's just, but there was a genuine hatred for them amongst teams. We hated them, and I don't mind saying we beat them 9 out of 12 times we played them. Of course, those were, our 2 years were pretty doggone good. We were pretty good.
Yeah.
But so were they. We just happened to dominate them, and that was the induction to the pack, right? And so we were trying to prove ourselves on who was the better Arizona club going into the pack. And so that was also, a caveat as well. So, but I really enjoyed, your show. I just dropped an anchor and just said, forget it. I was going to do something else. I said, no, I'm just going to listen. And by the way, let me tell you something. Anybody that comes on the show and says they were sitting up in Sun Devil Stadium with roses on their glasses, rooting for ASU, and then turns around and says he's one of us, it doesn't work that way. No. Whoever you are out there, God bless you, but it doesn't work that way. No.
I want to know, Wes, what those summer teams were like when you had to suit up with an ASU guy. Did you even talk to him, or did you just like kind of, pleasant, light pleasantries?
Cordial is basically what it is. and I'll tell you this. So what's interesting is when after we got drafted, a couple of us, myself and Jeff Morris, got drafted by the Astros. So we ended up going to the same club, and we had somebody that was one of their better pitchers, Tom Hawk. He got drafted also by the Astros. He played on our team, and ironically, he ended up being our roommate. It took us a while to warm to him. I mean, and people listening now might say, well, I mean, come on, get a grip. I mean, geez, they're all human beings. It was just different then.
Yeah.
They were them.
Yeah.
And we just don't like them. And quite frankly, if you ask Ricky Hunley, Ricky will tell you today, he don't like them.
Yeah.
And Cease doesn't like them. Tunnicliffe doesn't like them. Nick doesn't like them. Foles. If you ask them all, they just don't like them, and we don't. But again, different generation, et cetera, it doesn't make it better or worse. It's just different.
Yeah.
And
I'll go back to when I was in high school. When I was in I played mostly baseball, but I didn't even like summer league. Like you mentioned summer leagues, like it was the same kind of thing. But in high school, like you'd be on the summer team with the kids on your rival that you're trying to beat up, and I didn't like that. It felt dirty to me. Like, oh, I got to go play with this guy who during the regular season I'm trying to kick his butt all the time. I agree with you, man. I didn't like it. I didn't want to talk to those kids. I didn't want to be friendly with them during the summer if I knew I had to go and play them again the next year, because it was like I want to have that negativity about you in my mind when I go out on that field next year so I can kick your butt.
Well, and you're right. And here's the thing: when we played ASU, they were great. I mean, they were a great baseball team both years, and they've obviously a great program historically. We respected how good they were. We didn't like them at all. So we weren't talking during the game.
Yeah.
And in pro ball, it doesn't matter who you're playing against. You will end up talking to them because that's just what you do in pro ball. In between pitches, pitching change or whatever, you'll talk to somebody. But in college, it's just different because, I put something up on Twitter over the weekend. I think college is the most amazing thing that we could ever go through, that experience. And if you're an athlete, it's even more of a bonus. But it doesn't matter how many decades you've been gone from college, whether it be 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. The fight song is still the same.
Yeah.
Everything is still the same, and it's one big extended family. And we're all the same. And we all feel remotely pretty close to the same. And I think the college experience is second to none.
You're absolutely right. Hey, Wes, you played 13 years, I believe, professional baseball. What are your fondest memories of being able to play ball for that long?
A quick story. I went to junior college to play basketball. And I didn't play baseball in high school. So I went to junior college to play basketball. Joe Moeller was the baseball coach. The basketball coach told me you're going to play about 13, 14 minutes. Probably not going to be happy. The baseball coach thinks you can play baseball. Little did he know I was going to hit 054 in fall ball and strike out like 43 times in 53 at-bats.
Wow.
I was horrid. And it was by the luck and the grace of God that Jerry Kendall ended up coming to look at one of our pitchers. And my coach at that time, second year, was Dan Calgill, told me to show up, take batting practice, just bring your bat, don't bring your glove, and start hitting balls into the trees. That's how I ended up going to Arizona, because Coach Kendall was there and said, do you want to come to Arizona? I was scared to death. I didn't think I was good enough. I've seen them. But I mean, to get to back to your question, I mean, the experience. Well, I'll tell you what. This is how it went. My first at bat as an Arizona Wildcat. We were playing Cal State Fullerton, sold out, and Cal State Fullerton, as you know, was the program they are. They're one of the best ever, and so I wasn't starting, and boy was I happy. Because I was scared to death Randy Rader was the designated hitter that day. And in his first at bat, after he got one strike on him, he swung and went down to his knee. And after about 15, 20 seconds, it was obvious he wasn't going to be able to continue. And the true story, I went to the end of the dugout so Coach couldn't see me. So I didn't. I just figured if he can't see me, he won't call me to hit. Well, he did. And I've never shook so much in my life. I swung at the first pitch. I got a base hit to left. I rounded first. I fell on my face, literally straight down. I was on my face looking to the outfield, watching the ball being thrown into second base. And I'm like, I got plenty of time. I'll be able to get up and get back to first. And it ended up being like slow motion. And long story short, I was thrown out at first, diving back to first because I tripped and fell on my face. And as I'm looking at the bag with my hand on it being called out, the whole dugout was looking at me and howling underneath because you didn't do that with Coach Kendall.
Yeah.
But that was my indoctrination to the University of Arizona. But the experience, am I talking too much? Go ahead.
No. Go, John. Wes, continue.
No, but it's the experience at Arizona. I mean, God rest his soul, Jerry Kendall, right? We went there and the whole team, with the exception of Tito Francona and Eddie Vosberg and Casey Candell and Dwight Taylor, was basically junior college players from California. And it's one of the most amazing experiences we've ever had. We're probably better in 79 than we were in 80. In 80, we won it. But we couldn't figure out why Coach Kendall every day was harping on fundamentals. We couldn't figure out why, because we didn't like them, right? We just wanted to take batting practice. That's it. But we did fundamentals and fundamentals and fundamentals and fundamentals and fundamentals. And little did we know that we were going to be using these down the road after we were done playing pro ball and managing in pro ball and coaching in pro ball. And then we look back and we go, we're doing the same thing that JK taught us. And so, it's just, and of course we have one of the best managers in the history was, Terry Francona, who just, walked away, stepped away humbly. That's who Tito is, right? He didn't want any big fanfare. He just said, okay, I'm going to move on and leave. But he would probably tell you the same thing. I think, Tito did say one time upon hearing that Coach Kendall had passed, he said, Coach Kendall was somebody who didn't talk the talk. He walked the talk. And that's who he was. And, but, the experience, we still have a text feed of about 15 of the players from that national championship team today.
Let me ask you this question, Wes, because it was, I'm sure I pretty much already know the answer to this question, but I want you to be honest. Was that the best lineup in school history?
I know Chipper could be listening. And I love Chipper. I will tell you this, and I've had this discussion, and of course I do. I'm an analyst for ESPN and Pac-12 Network, so I've seen a lot of great players in the outfield. I'd be hard pressed you'd be hard pressed to tell me a faster outfield and a better outfield than Dwight Taylor, Johnny Moses, and Terry Francona. That's all I can tell you. Now, I'll tell you that some super players, Dave Stegman, Ron Hasse, there were some tremendous teams. And, of course, Chipper, right? We talk about Chipper.
Yeah.
Chipper was an unbelievable player, right? Brad Mills, unbelievable player. He played on the 79 team. Les Piercy, unbelievable player. I don't know. I can't answer that question. And I mean, obviously we're going to be biased, right?
Yeah.
But I can tell you, you'd be hard pressed to get a better outfield, including now. And I'm talking about all the way through, including now, than you would have in three guys that ended up playing in the big leagues. And Dwight Taylor was the fastest of them all. But, I mean, when, our lineup was Dwight Taylor, Johnny Moses, Tito, me, Clark Chris, Scott Stanley, right?
Yeah.
Were the first six. But if Johnny Mo got on or Dwight got on, there was a 3 stolen base. And then Tito came up, and then what were they going to do? Put him on, face me? That wasn't going to happen. And so I don't know. I mean, you could argue the 76, they won a national championship, 86, right? And then what was the next one with Lopes?
2012.
Right. And so, if any of the ex-players are listening, I wouldn't blame them to say that was the best team, right? But, we're a little
they
biased.
Didn't have as many big leaguers. I mean, they had some good players, but, I mean, when you're talking about Francona and Moses and Candell, I mean, and Lefferts, I mean, that's a pretty impressive list of guys that played a long time in the big leagues.
And Vosberg.
And, yeah.
And so, but, you could argue Haas's RBI record stood until this year until Kiko broke it. Me and Rocky were there at the Pac-12 tournament and how he did it. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he broke it on the inside the park home run.
He did. Yes.
And that was exciting. But, so, again, it's an unbelievable, historic college baseball program with some just tremendous players. And, I keep going to Ron Hasse because I think he's overlooked a lot, and he shouldn't be, because he's one of the best ever to play college baseball. But the experience is second to none. This rivalry, I'm not asking anybody to hate them because, like I said, it's a different gen. But it just brought back some memories on that bus ride. We were quiet on that ride. It just because we knew what was coming. It was like we get off, we were going to get booed the minute we came out of there. And that's just the way it was. And it was a battle and a battle royale. And, I can't speak on the football side. Maybe Cease and Ricky wanted to hit them harder than they did, when they played against UCLA. I don't know. But I just know that it's changed a little bit, but we truly still dislike them a lot.
Wes, hey, we appreciate you calling in today, man. Please call back anytime.
You guys, hey, I'm here.
I got to make sure that we have you. I'm going to put you back on hold because I want to make sure J-Dub has your number. Okay, we got your number, so we'll definitely have you on during baseball season next year.
It's a 5-2-0er.
Oh, okay.
So, I've had it.
John Moses, Terry Francona, himself in the cleanup spot, Scott Stanley, Ron Quick, Casey Candell, Clark Chris, Don Hyman at catcher. I mean, that was a really good lineup. A really good lineup with a lot of guys.
Yeah, ASU was so scared of that lineup they had to get Barry Bonds a couple years later, right?
Right, exactly. That was a lineup full of guys that played in the big leagues. And some who played for a very, very long time in the big leagues. Good stuff from Wes Clements there. All right, let's get you home. Every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic. Here's Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet and weather together. Reported collisions, Tancaverdi and Camino Principal, Swan near Grant on Swan to the north of Grant Road. We've got Ajo and Keno, the Keno-Ajo connection ramp with some slowing there. Roger and Stone, Golf Links, and Wilmot is also clearing. Weather-wise, clear skies, 51 are low, sunny and 72 tomorrow and 67 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Blindster.com. Want to save big on custom faux wood blinds, shutters, cellular shades, and more? Shop Blindster today and save up to 50% over comparable blinds from brick and mortar stores. Get custom blinds at low prices and free shipping at Blindster.com.
What makes 1290 different than any other radio station in Tucson? 1290 is the home of the Arizona Wildcats, the NFL, and the Super Bowl. Winner! This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Nothing slows my little girl down, except a stuffy nose. Mommy. That's why I use Sinex Children's Saline from Vicks. Sinex instantly clears mucus in everyday stuffy little noses with a gentle, ultra-fine mist designed for kids. Just Sinex? Breathe. Her stuffy nose is gone for now. And so is she.
Sinex Children's Saline. Sinex, breathe. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
With Black Friday appliance savings all month long at the Home Depot, we're making the holidays merrier by making holiday hosting easier with our lowest prices of the year on Whirlpool kitchen appliances. Get everything you need to store all your holiday favorites
Dinner's ready.
and the leftovers with top brand kitchen appliances at a great value. Save up to $2,300 on select kitchen packages, including top brands like Whirlpool with Black Friday savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Well, it's that time of year. You dress the kids up for the holiday parties, and they hate it. You dress everybody up for the annual holiday card picture, and, well, everybody hates that. You even dress the turkey, and we're pretty sure he's not happy about that. This year, dress up your yard in time for the holidays. Call Dorado Rockin' Materials, and we promise there will be no complaints. Make your yard beautiful and worry-free with their personal service and convenient delivery times. Dorado Rockin' Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Hey guys, I have a riddle. I hate it already. I'm wearing a polar bear disguise to provide service with no compromise. You're an Alaska vacation. Wait, I'm not done. It's a vital annual task, even though I'm behind a mask. Alaska vacation. You're an Alaska vacation. Don't spoil it for Ron. Alaska vacation. When I'm done, you won't shed a tear, because your heater will be guaranteed for a whole long year. Who am I? Alaska vacation. How'd you guess?
Gary, everyone knows the Alaska Vacation from Alaskan AC is the finest furnace tune-up in town.
Everybody also knows Alaskan AC guarantees no breakdowns for a year.
And everybody also knows it helps you save money on your utilities.
Wow, how quickly did you figure it out? As soon as you said, I like to dress up in costumes. I never said that. I know what I heard. Ron?
That kind of gave it away.
What do you guys know? I'm going to go take care of our customers with our world-famous Alaska vacations.
Schedule now at alaskanac.com.
Don't forget your fluffy tail. Oh, thanks.
Listen to the home of the Wildcats wherever you are on your iPhone and iPad by downloading our new app in the App Store so you can tune in wherever you are 24 hours a day. The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Tucson area attorneys. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. CordellCordell.com.
The handoff goes to Wiley, breaks the tackle. Wiley to the 25, to the 20, to the 15, and out of bounds. Another first down. Big game for Michael Wiley going. They'll mark it out at the ASU 12. And Delore out of the shotgun will take the snap. Handoff again to Wiley, right side. Finds a hole to the 5 in the end zone. Touchdown, Arizona.
There was nobody home. That was just a stretch play to the right side of the field, and Wiley literally walks into the end zone.
Michael Wiley, what a performance he had again last year in the win over Arizona State. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. It is Territorial Cup week here in Arizona. It'll be the 97th game in this series, so we're inching closer to Territorial Cup game number 100, which will be in the new Big 12. Obviously, this is a rivalry that is spanned a number of different conferences, and this will be the final one in the Pac-12 conference. Wildcats hold a 50-45-1 lead over their arch nemesis to the north, the Sun Devils, who are not having a very good season. And but it'll be Kenny Dillingham's first game, and so he is the guy that's been a part of this rivalry before, and it's got a lot of pride. So I would imagine his Sun Devils are going to be ready to go when the Wildcats get to town at 1:30 on Saturday. I mentioned, I've been, we're sharing memories of this game, and great to have Wes Clements on that last segment, Arizona baseball Hall of Famer, University of Arizona Sports Hall of Famer, a part of the 1980 National Championship baseball team, and to hear his stories just on the baseball side. And that's what it's about. I want to hear, it doesn't have to be football. Doesn't have to be, we're playing football this week, but, this is a week to tell stories about the rivalry as a whole and what it means to you. And so you can do that, 520-848-1290. I mentioned Alex Zendejas, who is probably one of the more polarizing people in this rivalry during the time that I've been here. And I mentioned in the last segment, 2009 in Tempe, kicks the game-winning field goal as the final seconds ticked off the clock to win for the second year in a row, the last time that the Wildcats have beaten Arizona State 2 years in a row, 2008, 2009. Then came here in 2010, had a chance to do it again. And I always think back to that young man because there were a lot of bad things that happened after that 2010 game. He had a number of field goals, extra points blocked, had a chance to win it at the end and could not get it done. And we've so often heard Glenn Howell talk about his Uncle Max and, what he meant to those teams during the early years of that streak when they were getting that going. And we had the caller call up earlier who was at the game in 1982 when Max Zendejas made the kick to win.
The one with the glasses with roses on them?
Yeah, exactly. That guy. We'll get. I have another. What Wes said about that is very. It reminds me of something I always thought about ex-athletic director Greg Byrne, and it's, people that went to that school up north and then came down here and matriculated, and I'm sure there are a number of people, and I'd like to hear from you if you are in that situation, where you went to one of the schools, ended up working maybe at the other school. I want to hear how you navigated that. 520-848-1290. I'm sure there's a number of people that went to ASU and ended up working at U of A, went to U of A, ended up working at ASU. In fact, I believe there's a young man in the sports information department at Arizona State. I know there's been actually a number of people. There was a young lady I remember that was a U of A grad that worked in the ASU Sports Information Department for a number of years. I think there's a young man right now that went to U of A that works in the ASU Sports Information Department. How do you navigate that? Knowing that you have that love that you had from college, but now you work for the other side. And I always thought that was interesting with Greg Byrne. You know, Greg Byrne went to ASU, was the athletic director at U of A. You know, how did he, on the face of it, obviously he never, and if you asked him, and I asked him a couple times as a reporter in this market, I was like, do you even slightly love ASU? I mean, you went there. I mean, I would imagine as somebody that works in sports that you loved sports when you were in college. How do you put that away? How do you put that away? Can you put that away? It's why when I came here, I mean, and most of you know, I went to USC, and I came here, and I tell this story all the time. So I was living in Memphis. I'd worked for the Memphis Redbirds doing baseball for a number of years. Got the gig out here with IMG College, which is now Learfield. The car that I drove out here, drove to old Mitsubishi, 2004 Mitsubishi. The license plate that I had when I lived in Tennessee was USC TRJN. And the last thing I did before I left Memphis to move to Tucson was I had to go down to the DMV and get a new license plate because there was no way I could take a job at the University of Arizona and drive that car out here with a license plate that said USC TRJN or TJRN or TRJN. Can't spell today. So I had to go
Trojan
get that.
is kind of hard to spell.
Exactly. So I had to go get a new license plate before I came out to take the job here. But you don't ever, and I was always very honest with people. I've always been honest with you, okay, about where I stand. I've said it for a number of years when I was in TV, when me and Glenn Howe were doing our thing. We had our rivalry day. Whenever USC would play Arizona, and I'd said, look, I'm going to be happy either way. Okay, I'm going to be happy if USC wins because that's my school. I'm going to be happy if Arizona wins because that's the team I cover. These are the kids that I cover, and I want to see them do well. That doesn't mean that I don't love my school. Now, right now, y'all know I'm not in love with my school right now. That doesn't mean that it did not hurt that they got their ass kicked by UCLA over the weekend. That did hurt. Even though I'm not in love with my school right now, it still hurt that the other team from across town in Westwood came into our house and beat our butts. I still don't want to see that, even though I'm not in love with my school right now. But I'm amazed at people, and I know there's a lot of people that work in athletics, and you work in athletics, and you work at a number of schools. I mean, Dave Hickey's worked at Oregon. He's worked at Central Michigan. He's been here. I'm not sure where Hickey went to school, but how do you turn that off? I couldn't turn it off. But apparently there are people that can turn that off. So I'd be interested to hear if you went to ASU and you worked at U of A, or you went to U of A and you worked at ASU. How did you turn that off? How did you navigate those feelings, in particularly this week? 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290.
What if somebody has a degree from ASU but no affiliation with the school? So my mom has her degree from Utah.
Online?
My mother has her undergrad from Utah. Well, she passed away 23 years ago now, but she got her undergrad from Utah, moved to Tucson, worked here in, she was a social, she had a bunch of different positions, but she was going for her second master's degree, and the University of Arizona did not offer that degree. So she ended up getting her second master's degree from ASU by mail, because at the time, this was way back in the late 70s, early 80s, they didn't offer that degree here in Tucson. So she has zero affiliation whatsoever with Tempe, and no love loss, no rooting interest whatsoever. And technically, my mother has her second master's degree came from ASU. So this week when it comes up, it's not a matter of picking sides. It's Tucson all the way, Tucson, always Tucson. If Arizona had offered that master's at the time, I wouldn't be having this conversation live on air on the radio.
Yeah. It's interesting.
What I'm saying is this is not black and white, in that just because somebody has a degree from ASU doesn't mean that they're, plain mustard and whatever other colors you want to call it, out on painting their face that color.
Ketchup and mustard.
During the Territorial Cup week.
All right, we have blown past another break, so let's make sure we get you home. That's going to happen this week. That the rivalry week dredges up emotions. So we're going to be probably blowing past a lot of breaks this week. We've got shows today, tomorrow. I'll get you the rest of the schedule. Let's get to cricket and traffic here every 20 minutes on the fives.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Reported collisions, new crash southbound I-19 south of Irvington. Believe it's off on the side of the road, some slowing there. Other wrecks, Tancaverde and Camino Principal. Swan north of Grant. Roger Road and Stone Avenue, and also Ajo-Kino connection ramp. Some backups on westbound Ajo Way at Mission, also southbound Mission at Ajo. Some slowing at the southbound I-19 Irvington off-ramp and westbound Valencia at I-19 for more backups. Clear skies, 51 is our low, sunny 72 tomorrow, and 68 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Shopping for new blinds? At Blindster, we offer over 50 different blinds, shades, and shutters at low prices, custom made for your windows, and shipping is free. Shop at home and order 10 free samples of any product before you buy. Blindster.com.
Now, I don't want to make a big deal about this, but I'm going to anyway. The Chevy Silverado is now the #1 selling full-size pickup in Arizona. So, come to O'Reilly Chevrolet and find out why so many fellow Arizonans are in love with this truck. See them all at O'Reilly.com, call 747-8000, or test drive one today on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Find new roads during the final days of truck season at O'Reilly Chevrolet. More than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
See dealer for details.
Hello, and welcome to How to Save Money on Your Favorite Tobacco Products Unless You're Stupid. Please press 1. At Tobacco Barn, you can save up to 40%. That's right, up to 40%. Please press 2. There's also no state tax at Tobacco Barn because they're on the reservation. Please press 3. Plus, you pay no city sales tax at Tobacco Barn. Please press 4. And save another $3 with a coupon at TobaccoBarnTucson.com. To repeat these savings, please press 5. Save up to 40%. Save with no state sales tax. Save with no city sales tax. And save another $3 with a coupon at TobaccoBarnTucson.com. Please press 9 if you're stupid. Wow, you're about one taco short of a combo plate, aren't you? Don't be stupid. Save your money. Come to Tobacco Barn, Nogales Highway just south of Valencia. Check TobaccoBarnTucson.com.
This November, I'm grateful for the most thrilling casino action around.
Not to mention next level fun and unbeatable winning.
You got it.
Find it all at Desert Diamond Casinos.
And this month is all about the excitement.
You bet it is.
At Tucson, there are giveaways galore. Come out every Thursday for Road to Riches, where there are over $100,000 in prizes up for grabs. Plus, there's 10K Saturday, Diamond Sunday Bingo, and more.
I'm there.
At Saurita, there are more great events, plus incredible entertainment all month at the Diamond Center Saurita.
Count me in.
Then make your picks each week to score your share of over $1 million. It's $1 Million Pro Football Frenzy at Tucson, Saurita, and Y.
That's true, Tucson.
It's always a good time at Desert Diamond Casinos.
True.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
See Rewards Center for details.
Can't get enough of your Arizona Wildcats? Make sure to stop by Taco Bell in the spring for a meet and greet opportunity with some of your Arizona men's basketball players at Taco Bell. Pick up your favorite Taco Bell combo and live Moss with an autograph or photo from Kylan Boswell and Keyshawn Johnson. Taco Bell, locally owned and operated and proud partner of Arizona Athletics. Bear down and live Moss.
Enjoy football season like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using promo code KOSTOS, KOSTOS, my last name, and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to gamble responsibly. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Arizona only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
1290 brings you the passion of football like no one else.
11 minutes to play in the quarter. First and goal. Pitch to Mitchell to the right. He's running around end, and he's going to stroll in for the San Francisco touchdown. The 49ers dropping the gauntlet. They march
This
right
season,
down
1290 will bring you almost 100 NFL and college football games. It's not flexing, it's just the truth. Scoreboard 1290, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos, and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze Fruit on the Go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Go, Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out the best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
38 yards to the Arizona 1. It's first and goal, Sun Devils. And Bourget will line up in a hurry on first down, hand it off to Valladay, and he's in the end zone for the touchdown. How quickly things change. 1 second left.
Telling you.
In the quarter. That obviously now we got another late flag after it's over. Guys got to stop this.
They do.
And I'm talking to both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. It's ridiculous. Well, and the stupid thing is you're not proving anything. You know, you're just proving that you're stupid when you go out there and just take a swing at a guy and push a guy after a play's over. That doesn't do anything.
No.
DK on the sports tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Yeah, so there were a number of ejections last year as a result of unpleasantries. A couple years ago, I think, so that was 2022. What was last year?
Yeah.
2022. Yep. Then it was 2018, you'll remember, was the year that P.J. Johnson got into it with the Sun Devils before the game actually started. And there was the scuffle down on the sideline or the field during warm-ups. So, maybe there have been instances where guys have shown that, this does mean a lot to us.
Yeah, if anybody's curious, we just had a Hall of Famer U of A baseball player, Wes Clements, on. He was talking about how maybe the past generations took it a little bit more serious as far as the hatred for ASU goes, and maybe modern players. But this was just last year, and there's Lamont calling the players stupid for throwing punches at each other after a touchdown just last year.
Yeah, there were two. I'm trying to remember at the beginning of this year. There were two players, I think, I'm trying to remember who was suspended. Matias Seve, I believe, was one of them, who got ejected from that game last year at the end, who had to sit out the first half of the first Pac-12 game this year of this season as a result of getting ejected from. And I think Christian Roland Wallace had to sit out the first half of USC's first Pac-12 game this year because he got ejected at the end of the game last year. If Christian Roland Wallace got ejected from a U of ASU game,
right?
I mean, that guy he was like not emotional about it. Anything. I love Ciro, love him, but he's the last guy you would think would be fighting during a football game.
I think a lot of it obviously has to do with social media and summer ball, right? So a lot of the guys, they get to know each other over the summer where maybe 35, 40 years ago they didn't. Really, DK. So really the rivalry started and they really met each other on the field for the first time when these two teams played. Nowadays, a lot of high school players, and even before, they get to know each other. I think old heads don't let Wildcats take this lightly and just another game. It doesn't work like that. Just listen to Glenn or Kelvin on one of our pre or post games for football talk about this rivalry, and that's just universal. I think all the old heads out there, anytime they get the ear of the younger players, the younger generation, they make sure to let them know what this means to them and that they better take it as seriously as those guys did.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program, sharing your memories of the Territorial Cup game. I'll get into, I didn't really finish my thought on Alex Zendejas because I got a little convoluted into just the rivalries as a whole, but I'll get back to that in the 5 o'clock hour. Let's talk to our guy, Paul, in Phoenix. You're on Wildcats Radio 1290, DK on the Sports Tip. Paul, you there? Paul? All right, I'm not sure that we have Paul. I don't know if he can hear us. We have been having a few technical issues out behind the scenes today with some stuff, but I don't know that Paul is there. So we'll come back to Paul. So let me finish my point now, unless we've got him. Paul, you there?
Yeah, there. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now, Paul. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to put you back on get the speaker here real quick. Are you still there?
Yes, we're here. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, good. Okay, sorry about that. JW and Dave, how you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, this you're hitting the whew, this is a good one. Of course, being one of the old guys here, I guess you could say, and this rivalry goes way back, right? And I guess the first thing, and it's going to make people unhappy with me, but I'll just say it. Let's just say if I was stuck on a desert island, okay, with former Tempe Normal Teachers College quarterback Danny White.
Yeah.
One of us is not getting off that island alive, and it sure as hell ain't going to be me. I'll tell you that much right now. So the disdain I have for that I don't even call him a man. The disdain I have for that person, if he tripped in front of me and fell down on the ground, I'd probably step over him and walk over. But that's another story. Okay, that's a whole other thing. But guys, you understand, I moved from Tucson to Phoenix in '75. So here I am, a real young Wildcat fan, trying to get do my thing, moving to Phoenix and having to deal with, the folks up here. And that was 7th grade, right? No big deal. But when it got to high school, it got a little bit more heated. But true confession, because my best friend went to that school in Tempe, I followed him. I went for 1 semester to that school. And I know for a fact,
we just found out something new about you. We just found out something new about you.
I know. But please don't look up my GPA. That's a whole other story in itself. That was 1 semester of fun. But
I think we're supposed to say you can't call in anymore, Paul. I think that's the joke we're supposed to make here, but we'll just avoid that one.
Okay, thank you. But I tell you what, I did go to some of the games at that school, but the Territorial Cup game was there during Thanksgiving weekend, of course, that year. I did not go. I just couldn't. I couldn't force myself to go. Like, my tickets at the time were in the student section because that's my friend got them. All our buddies got them. We went there, and of course, we did what college students did, right? But I couldn't go. I couldn't force myself to go, and I'm so thankful I didn't. But fast forward to 1986, and we know what happened in that game, right?
Yeah.
Before the game, my best friend, he and I made a little wager, and we said loser of the game has to wear the other guy's shirt to school on Monday at their respective school. Well, of course, he ended up having to wear it, and he was a good sport. He actually did it. He wore a red shirt that I loaned him, but he had a sign on it, and he said, "I lost this in a bet." So that was his story. But I tell you what, if looking back at some of these games, I was there for the what was that, the tie when they muffed a punt or whatever, the punter dropped the snap or whatever it was, and we ended up tying that game. We had no business tying that game, and just some of the history and all that. I love it. Living up here though, it is a little bit difficult, I must admit. But I tell you what, this week I wear my clothes, proud around here, and it's going to be fun. But I do have a question for you, David. Where are you guys going to be? Have you told anybody where you're going to be on Saturday?
We are going to be at Macayos. It's about a mile, so it's not the old Macayos. We found they've got a new location on Scottsdale Road, right across on the other side of the lake. So it's right down.
Okay.
It's like literally a mile. Okay. It's like a mile from the stadium on Scottsdale Road.
Gotcha. I think I know exactly where it's at.
Be there. We'll be there both pregame and postgame. So
really?
We'll be there pregame from 9 to 12, and we'll be there postgame probably like 5 to 7 or whatever it'll be.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's great. You know what? it's going to be a lot of fun. And you know what, you guys are right. I tell you what, this year's team, I guarantee it. Coach Fish has already told them, guys, you understand, fighting in this game will only make you miss the next game. And by the way, we do have a next game.
Yes,
period.
We do.
We have a next game. So, whatever that game happens to be, there is another game. So if you really want to fight and sit out half the game, the next game, then fight. But they're not going to. This team, we're going to come out focused. I just want us to be focused. Let's get it over early. Let's enjoy it. And, guys, thanks again. I may have to call in later this week.
Paul,
Let's play it now.
Paul, it is Territorial Cup week. I normally have a rule back. You can call every 2 days in a row, but not a third day in a row. But I might relinquish that rule this week because it's Territorial Cup week. So,
well, I've got more stories, but you know what? You guys take care. I love hearing your guys' stories, and David, I know you're one of those Trojan guys. But isn't it interesting? And again, I'm digging at you for a second, okay? I thought about this. So USC's done with their season, right?
Well, no, they're going to go to a bowl game. They won 7.
No. But I'm saying is that their regular season's over, right?
Yeah. Their regular season is over. Yes.
So why did they get a bye? Why did the Pac-12? Everybody thought probably USC was going to be the glory children, right? And so they gave them a week off before they had to play in the Pac-12 championship game.
Well,
that's why they did it. Come on, David, come on.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, they did play in week 0, so they started their season early. So I think that's one of the reasons why they would have week off. Yeah. So I don't know if that the schedulers had anything to do with that, Paul. But if that makes you feel better, then
that's
go
my
for it.
Conspiracy theory. That's right. Hey, you guys take care. I'll talk to you guys later this week.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Paul.
Bear down.
All right, more stories of the Territorial Cup, more memories of this great rivalry. We want to hear from you today, tomorrow, Wednesday. Those will be the 3 days. We will have a basketball show, obviously, on Thursday, but we can still talk Territorial Cup a little bit during that as well. We will not have a show on Friday. That is our holiday off this week, and then we'll reconvene Saturday morning. As I mentioned, we will be at Macayo's Mexican restaurant on Scottsdale Road. We'll have more information for you on that. Come on up before the game. Hang out with us. Get you some great food. We'll be there before and after the game. Then after the Wildcats put that whooping on them, you can come back and party with us there. 520-848-1290 with J.W. Madden and Cricket. I'm David Kelly. It's DK on the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. New reported collisions in the Foothills, River and Campbell and River Road, 5th and Craycroft and 5th Street. Also expect wrecks that are clearing at Ajo and Country Club, a hit and run wreck, and the Keno Ajo connection ramp. Possible collision on the southbound side of I-19, just south of Ajo Way, some slowing there. More backups for traffic at Irvington and Valencia at I-19, Ajo and Mission also busy. Clear skies, 51 are low, sunny 72 tomorrow and 67 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. What's more amazing than nacho fries? Getting a regular order of nacho fries every day for up to 30 days for $10 with the Nacho Fries Lovers Pass. Become a rewards member and purchase the pass on the Taco Bell app for a limited time only. Redeem on the app at participating Taco Bell stores. Terms apply.
This is Jim Rome with your Rome Report. I can't believe I'm about to say this. I didn't think I would ever say this, but Broncos country, let's ride. How about that old spud, Russell Wilson? Apparently there's still some magic left in that sack of potatoes. And how about Sean Payton? Apparently he could still coach. And not just coach, but coach his tail off. We're talking about a team that started 1-5, and not just 1-5, but one of the ugliest 1-5 starts ever. Yet here they are back at 500, 5-5. But that start, it was so brutal, they were all but left for dead in a flaming ditch on the side of the road. And now look at them in actual playoff contention. And Russett should get his share of the credit because that dude has earned it. He's now third in the NFL in passer rating, behind only Purdy and Tua. He leads the league in fourth quarter comebacks and game-winning drives. I don't think anybody saw this turnaround coming.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet-Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Black Friday is now a game day. The Dolphins take on the Jets in the first ever Black Friday NFL game. Stream for free only on Prime. Black Friday football. Dolphins versus Jets. Coverage begins this Friday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Only on Prime. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/watch Black Friday football for details.
When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon. DayQuil Kids Berry from Vicks. DayQuil Kids is specially formulated to treat kids' most bothersome cold and cough symptoms quickly. And the best part is that DayQuil Kids Berry tastes really great. Aren't you supposed to be resting? Maybe.
DayQuil Kids Berry. The kids' berrylicious daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6 years plus.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-581-1414. That's 800-581-1414.
1290 has earned the right to be named after the Arizona Wildcats. That's why we grind harder than anyone else in Tucson to cover the Cats. 1290 is the home of the Wildcats. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. It looks like our long, hot summer is finally over, and cooler temperatures are great news for us and mostly good news for your car. But for some of you, the cooler overnight temperatures will be just enough to trigger your tire's low-pressure warning light. In most cases, you can solve the problem simply by adding the correct amount of air to your tires, and then get back to enjoying the cooler temperatures. As always, you can stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low-pressure warning light, we fix those too. This month, mention this ad, and with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor, we'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tire absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get you road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. So call ahead, make an appointment online, or just drive up. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Good news, everybody. We stay on the air with you for an extra 2 hours after every Arizona football and men's basketball game all season long. That's why we are the home of the Wildcats. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket, getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
Bourget out of the shotgun will take the snap, handoff, and inside the 25 down to the 21, and a fumble. Cats say they've got it. Let's see what the official.
Yes, sir.
It's Arizona football.
And you know what it was? Is he was continuing to try to drive his feet and get extra yardage, and they popped the ball out. Oh yeah, he didn't go down. He was laying on top of a player,
and he just pulled it away. He just yanked the ball out of his hand.
Yeah,
that is just a heads-up play.
We do expect Trenton Bourget to start again for Arizona State in the Territorial Cup game, and that was one of the cool stories of last year's game. The kid from Marana coming home to start the game for the rival Sun Devils. He had all his family. They had their gold shirts on up in the Zona Zoo because obviously it was Thanksgiving week. And so a little bit different seating arrangement. And so the Bourget family was able to get seats in the Zona Zoo for the Territorial Cup game last year. And great to see that Trenton has really battled through some injuries this year to stay on the field and really go out. I mean, go out a real warrior for his university. And looking forward to seeing him play again this Saturday.
Relegated to like third or fourth?
He didn't start. He was number 2 at the beginning of the year. They had the young kid Rashad. I forget his first name.
The transfer,
yeah. He was the starter. Then he got hurt. Then Bourget, but yeah, he was number 2. I don't think he was down to number 3.
I thought I remembered like this transfer guy got hurt and someone else came in because we were all surprised that Bourget didn't go in right away. It was my memory. But
it might have been. I may be not remembering that correctly. But
new coach, right? New coach.
Yeah.
Players coming over from a different time, and a new coach comes in to kind of want to do their own thing.
So I need to correct myself. I said when I was talking about the beginning of this rivalry in 1899, I said that it was Arizona versus Tempe Normal School. At the time, though, it was actually the first game. They were known as Arizona Territorial Normal School back in 1899. That game was played on Thanksgiving Day, 1899. And Arizona beat Arizona Territorial Normal School 11-2 in front of a reported 300 fans. This is the University of Arizona put out a release today, their weekly media release. Obviously, back in 2001, the Arizona State-Arizona rivalry was officially designated by the NCAA as the oldest trophy for a rivalry game in America, as the trophy goes to the winner. And the Cup had its first curator after that game. It was actually called the Governor's Trophy for a number of years between 1953 and 1979. And so a lot of different interesting tidbits about the Territorial Cup game as we have come to know it over the course of history.
How many cowboy hats were in the stands in 1899 for the first game, do you think?
Well, there were 300 people, so I would imagine, I'll take a wild guess, there might have been 250 cowboy hats, unless there were some women at the game.
Well, women weren't allowed to sporting events back then, I don't think.
Well, then
that was a different time, DK, different time.
All right, well, then there would not. There would have maybe been 300 cowboy hats.
Probably quite a few is my point. Yeah, probably quite a few. 1899 Arizona.
I want to real quick, though, finish my point on Alex Zendejas and just kind of the polarizing guy in this series, and really shouldn't be, because he was so close to having that same mantle that his Uncle Max had here and still has here for being, an Sun Devil killer, as they like to say. Beat him in 2009 with the late second field goal. Had a chance to beat them in 2010 and solidify his legacy. He had the 2 kicks blocked. The Wildcats lost that game. And I think there's more people that remember Alex Zendejas for the 2 kicks that he didn't make versus the kick that he did make.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate that and it's a part of sports. It's always been a part of sports. People remember the last thing that happened. And unfortunately for him, that was the last thing that happened. He got booed off the field. People threw stuff at him off the field. He's talked since then about how he gave up kicking for a number of years after that. But Alex Zendejas should always be lauded as a hero in this rivalry because of the one game he won in 2009 and not the one game that he lost in 2010.
Just look at like Bill Buckner, right? I mean, wasn't he like an all-star level player before that famous error in the World Series, and that's what he's known for, right? I mean, he was a very, very good baseball player.
Guy could hit.
Yeah, and all anybody talks about is, didn't the ball go through his legs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So an error in the World Series, and that's the lasting memory. And Red Sox fans themselves, right? Like they've treated him like dirt because of that one play, despite so much success. It's just the one play people remember.
Yeah. 520-848-1290 is the number to get on the program. Jim, you are on Wildcats Radio 1290. DK on the Sports Tip.
Very nice to be speaking with you. This is a great topic. I have a couple of memories. The first one, I add on a little bit to one of your previous callers that talked about the tie game with the field goal. I was at that game and also listening to the post-game radio on the way back from Phoenix at the time, the local broadcast. And at the time, Dan Devine was doing the color for that. And I just remember distinctly that the mood in the broadcast booth was, you could just, you hear how downcast they were that this victory had been snatched away from them. And Dan Devine actually says, well, it's not like actually anybody died. It was so rich. It was like, man, that just puts the icing on the cake. And earlier memory I had.
Let me stop you, Jim. So Dan Devine, was he doing was it a local broadcast here in Tucson that he was doing?
No, it was a local. It was. I heard it on the driving back from Phoenix on the way out of town.
Oh, so it was on a Tempe radio station. Phoenix radio station. Okay.
In the Tempe post game. Yeah, it was their broadcast.
I see.
That was quite something.
Wow,
and
I didn't know Dan Devine did radio at one point.
That just I didn't either at the time. We were just listening to it on the way back, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is just too funny. So the other memory I wanted to share was this would have been the fourth game in the streak. Somehow I managed to get tickets that were like on the 50-yard line and right in the middle of the ASU fans, about 6 or 8 rows up. And, of course, that was, Ricky Hunley, Larry Smith and everything. And it was it had just these fantastic seats and, of course, all kinds of vociferous fans around us and holding roses, because they were getting ready to go to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And we, of course, we won that game. And I just turned around to the people behind me, and I just held up 4 fingers. Right in their face. 4. And another cool thing about that was that, I can't remember exactly how we had access, but we were down so low in the stands we could get on the field. So my friend and I, we got to walk out on the field with the team, with Ricky and Larry Smith and everything, right on Sun Devil Field, and sort of grounded into the dirt a little bit. It was a very fun experience, to say the least.
Great memories, Jim.
Yeah, and I will just throw in a little parentheses. I did get to go see the Fiesta Bowl game when we played Miami, and talk about another satisfying game. I hope we have, maybe we'll have a bowl experience like that again this year. So
there you go. Jim, appreciate your call.
Thank you. Nice talking to you guys. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Let's get in Rick real quick here. Rick, you're on Wildcats Radio 1290, DK on the Sports Tip.
Yes, sir. Previous gentleman kind of stole some of my thunder. I was there also at the 80. It was actually 1982 at home was the start of our streak, not on the road. It was at home, and they did bring in their roses. That's a fact because I sat around a bunch of them, and they were so arrogant, so arrogant. And I can remember the defining play that broke it open was Tunnicliffe goes back. Brian Holland circles around out of the backfield. He dumps like a 20-yarder over the middle to him, wide open. He took it to the house from about 70 yards. It was awesome. And then the next year we went up there, and Max Sendeja stole their heart and soul up there. And it was amazing. He made 2 field goals, and I recall the second one, there was a penalty on us, like illegal procedure, so he had to kick it again from 5 yards deeper to beat him. But, with all due respect to his cousin, he doesn't compare to Max. Max was the best field goal kicker in college I ever saw, period. But great memories, and I predict about 50-0 this year. We got some payback coming, and it's coming, baby. So thanks a lot.
Hey, Rick, I think you shorted Brian Holland a few yards. It was 92 yards. Yeah, it was a 92-yard play from Tunnicliffe to Brian Holland. Appreciate your call there, buddy. Great stuff, though. Great stuff there. Cricket rejoins us now as we get set for Thanksgiving week here. Cricket. So, what's going to be happening at the Cricket household this week?
My sister took on the responsibility and stress of making dinner for the family. So, so we're going to tear up her house.
Oh, there you go. So, does that move? So, when I was growing up, we had Thanksgiving dinner in Ohio, and it would move to from house to house to house every other year. Is that kind of how it works in your family?
Not really. Our house is way too small to host everyone there.
Okay.
So my sister, they renovated their house, so they have a nice big, and I think that's one thing that she was looking forward to, in addition to having space for all the kids, but being able to entertain. So she kind of likes it. So we usually just do her house, but if they were going out of town, I would have just grabbed something to eat with mom or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, but usually sister kind of takes on that. That's a big job, isn't it?
So she's hosting, but what are you cooking?
She told us not to bring anything, but I'm bringing pies. Yeah, that's why I was like, I cannot go somewhere, family or not. Nowhere. I have to bring something. So I'm bringing her flowers too.
So you're going to bake how many pies now?
3.
3.
Yeah.
All the same or different?
Pecan, pumpkin, and apple.
Pecan, pumpkin, and apple.
Yeah. What about you? What are you guys doing
for
the big day?
Working.
We'll be here.
Oh, that's right.
We'll be here. There's a basketball game.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So which of those 3 do you like the most?
I probably apple.
Apple?
Yeah, I think so. What about you?
I'm not a pie person.
I'm really not either.
I never really got into pie when I was growing up. I just, sweets and desserts and that kind of thing. I never really ate a lot of cake. I didn't really start eating cake, I think, till I was almost in my teens. And then it was just chocolate cake with chocolate icing. But and sometimes my grandmother would have pound cake. I would eat that.
That's good.
But, yeah. How about you? You a pie guy?
I mean, flaky, buttery crust and some kind of gooey, warm fruit thing. I don't go out of my way and go buy pies on a regular basis and just grab a fork. But if there's a good pie around, sure. I mean, I'm a fan. My dad used to just have pies all the time. Grab them from a place that's famous for pies here. I don't know if they're a sponsor, so I won't mention their name. But growing up, we had outside of the household pies, not necessarily, but a good friend of mine, Allie, she makes she's from Atlanta originally, and she does a bourbon pecan type of thing for holidays.
Excuse me?
It's so good.
Wow.
Yes, so good.
That sounds amazing.
Bourbon pecan. Nice. We'll have to see. Glenn, he's a pie guy. I forget what I think he might weigh.
You mean Glenn, who's 75 years old and has 0% body fat? That
exactly.
Glenn?
Wait, that's not fair. Excuse me?
I forget which one he makes, but he would always bring him by the TV station.
He gets
during
up at
Territorial
3
Cup
a.m.
week.
and works out for 6 hours before going about his day. So
Exactly.
he works real hard at it. Yeah.
He's not 75.
I'm joking because I'm just saying he's old. I mean, he's an old man and he's got no body fat. He looks like he could be 20.
Glenn at 75. I got Kelvin at 40. We can't get these ages right this week.
Guys.
All right. Getting you home, making sure we get you to the airport if that's where you're on your way to get up and out of Tucson and somewhere back east, maybe over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house. We go with Crickets.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Some slowing on the southbound side of I-19 as you approach and pass Ajo Way, possibly due to an earlier collision. Other crashes at 5th Street in Craycroft and River Road in Campbell. Slowdowns Ajo and Mission, southbound La Cholla at Ajo Way, westbound Ina at Thornydale. Also eastbound Grant Road at Columbus for some slowing. 51 and clear overnight, sunny, 72 tomorrow, and 66 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi. Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Since 2010, Blindster has sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters to satisfied customers across the country with 20,000 5-star reviews and an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com.
The very best in play-by-play is on Tucson's best sports station, Wildcats Radio 1290. This is the home of the Wildcats and NFL play-by-play. This is the one and only Wildcats Radio 1290.
Motorists, your text can wait. Please don't text and drive. This message paid for by your local leaders at Adobe King. Trust over 27 years in business. For all your Adobe sealing and restoration services, call the pros today at 520-615-2110. That's 520-615-2110. Or check them out online at adobekingaz.com. That's Adobe King, professionals who care.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. It looks like our long, hot summer is finally over, and cooler temperatures are great news for us and mostly good news for your car. But for some of you, the cooler overnight temperatures will be just enough to trigger your tire's low-pressure warning light. In most cases, you can solve the problem simply by adding the correct amount of air to your tires, and then get back to enjoying the cooler temperatures. As always, you can stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low-pressure warning light, we fix those too. This month, mention this ad, and with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor, we'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tire absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get you road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. So call ahead, make an appointment online, or just drive up. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
This November, I'm grateful for the most thrilling casino action around.
Not to mention next level fun and unbeatable winning.
You got it.
Find it all at Desert Diamond Casinos.
And this month is all about the excitement.
You bet it is.
At Tucson, there are giveaways galore. Come out every Thursday for Road to Riches, where there are over $100,000 in prizes up for grabs. Plus, there's 10K Saturday, Diamond Sunday Bingo, and more.
I'm there.
At Sahuarita, there are more great events, plus incredible entertainment all month at the Diamond Center Sahuarita.
Count me in.
Then make your picks each week to score your share of over $1 million. It's $1 Million Pro Football Frenzy at Tucson, Sahuarita, and Y.
That's true, Tucson.
It's always a good time at Desert Diamond Casinos.
True.
An enterprise of the Thorna Autumn Nation.
See Rewards Center for details.
Hi, I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Recently, Lerner & Rowe was named the second most influential law firm in the United States. Although we have offices in other parts of the country, Glenn and I both live here and raise our families here. We are your local law firm. No other law firm in the state comes close to the experience, reputation, and results as Lerner & Rowe. When you're hurt in a wreck and need a check, call the law firm that can get you the results you need. Call Lerner & Rowe.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Make the right choice for your home when it comes to windows and doors. For more than 20 years, the Window Depot has provided the best price and biggest inventory on in-stock windows and doors. The Window Depot is open to the public, so whether you're a homeowner or a contractor, you can shop the enormous warehouse. Browse the shelves with over 1,000 vinyl windows, interior and patio doors, and skylights in several varieties and sizes available to go home today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot. Best price, biggest inventory.
Tucson, we have something free just for Wildcats fans living in Tucson. You can now catch all the play-by-play action of Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball, and no charge on your smart speaker. Ask it to play Wildcats Radio 1290.
Why does 1290 run this town?
It's simple. 1290 is the only radio station that can bring you Thursday, Sunday, Monday Night Football, the NFL playoffs, and the Super Bowl. Scoreboard 1290.
This is the home of the Wildcats.
This is Wildcats Radio 1290. It's no contest, Tucson. You're listening to the home of the Arizona Wildcats. That's why 1290 runs this town. This is the one and only home of your Arizona Wildcats.
And you know this, man.
We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Tucson area attorneys. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. CordellCordell.com.
Williams will be the single setback. Delora under center. He'll take the snap, hand off to DJ. DJ driving his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Arizona.
DJ Williams rockets through the middle of the field, breaks a tackle, and just blows his way into the end zone. Momentum shift once again for Arizona.
Wildcats back in front, 37-35, extra point upcoming.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290. It's the 5 o'clock hour, and it's time for our Arizona Insiders.
Am I late? No, my boy, you're just in time.
Each weekday, Wildcats Radio 1290 brings you all the latest news and opinions on U of A football and the Pac-12. So bear down, Tucson, and let's talk Arizona football. Our Arizona Insiders are brought to you by Coors Light, official corporate sponsors of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day at Arizona.
All right, let's talk to one of the men who has suited up in this rivalry for the University of Arizona. His name is Lamonte Hunley, class of 1984, linebacker. He joins us as our Arizona Insider today. And Lamonte, how psyched are you for this week?
Well, I tell you, man, I'm still getting over the hype from the game itself and, what we saw, what we experienced on Saturday night. And, I mean, it was a whole different team out there, in my opinion, as far as a team that's been developing week in and week out and become such a complete team. And I'm so excited to take this up north and complete this season, at least the first 12 games with a really, really big upset against those guys up north.
I mean, it's been amazing what Johnny Nansen has done, just adapting week to week to what's in front of him. I mean, one of the things that kind of stood out about this game is we saw more, I think, more blitzing than we had seen all season, and just different kind of blitzing that we've seen all season from this defense.
Yeah, he was bringing people from different angles and showing some different fronts in regards to, in some cases, he actually played a true linebacker this week more than he did in the past, because he would normally, play his, defensive backs up there, but he played a true linebacker. And I'm telling you, that kid, he really performed. He played very well. Like you said, hats off to these adjustments that you can make. You can look at a offense week in and week out and try to find the weaknesses in those offense and make adjustments defensively. And you do that and you teach that, you teach that throughout the week with the soundness that comes on Saturday. Those guys, they get out there just play, because they're not thinking anymore. They pretty much did all of their thinking throughout the week as far as with practice and in the classroom. And came Saturday, we just lined up and just went to the ball. And it was like a lot of helmets around the ball. And it was like old school football. Meet me around the football.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, obviously, what Johnny has done kind of, he's kind of, flirted with playing some of the defensive backs in that linebacker position. And that's kind of maybe one of the things I guess, for lack of a better way to say it, but it has. If there's a weakness on this defense, is that they have not had a second guy really emerge in that other linebacker spot. I mean, they've played a number of guys. They started Daniel Humuli earlier. We've seen Justin Flo there. Obviously, you mentioned. Right. I mean, Martell Irby is a defensive back who's kind of filled in that position. And this week it was Kamula Kawehu was the young guy that you were referring to that kind of got the opportunity. How do you think that's going to roll moving forward? And do you like the way they've been kind of able to mask that, or could that be an issue for them as they get into this week and obviously a bowl game moving forward?
Oh no, I mean I don't think it's an issue at all in regards to, because now whoever the opponent is, you're seeing somebody different on film. And then all of a sudden somebody else shows up on film. So you're preparing for, a linebacker, and then all of a sudden you got a safety that's playing in that spot. And I mean, you alluded to earlier, it is the fact that it is probably one of the weakest spots, but the strongest spot as far as position per se on our defense, because we can't find one solid guy who can constantly stay there and play there. But I think just the change up and having different bodies and different athletic bodies to do certain things as far as coverage and blitzing, and moving here and there. I mean, that could, cause some havoc on the offensive linemen. I mean, offensive linemen, they so used to, putting their hand on the ground and looking at somebody, a little beefier, a little taller, but all of a sudden you got a safety there, a smaller body, and you give me some open space. That safety and that smaller body can run around that offensive lineman at any point and cause havoc. And those are things that's taking place. So I think it's hard. I mean, I think it's going to be hard for week in and week out who we're going up against, that they do have to game plan against that type of a defense.
Lamonte Hunley, University of Arizona linebacker, 1984, is our guest. He's our Arizona Insider, brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light is an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Coors Light, there's nothing like game day at Arizona. Lamonte, obviously you were part of this ride. We've been talking about memories of this Territorial Cup rivalry, and then you were kind of in on the ground floor when the streak got going. What were special about those years when this university started to turn this rivalry in the direction back down south?
Well, I mean, the most obvious thing that you control the state. I mean, you really control the state, and you can walk around the state with your, chest poking out, and you can go up north and wear your Arizona uniforms or your Arizona logo. Those, and there's nothing they can say. There's nothing they can say at all about it. And I was in a situation where I was able to do that very proudly. At least start of my first year was my sophomore year, so my sophomore through my senior year, and we was able to do that very proudly. And like I say, it's the most, the thing that stand out the most is that you can go up north, and there's nothing that they can say to you, nothing at all, because you at least control the state until the next year, and you got that cup in our backyard where it should stay. And this weekend we got by far the best team that will be on that field to compete for that cup, and we should have that cup back down here, and there's no way that cup should stay up there. And I think Jed got these kids prepared for that moment. Jed understands this rivalry. I know when Jed first got here, that was one of the things that he purposely wanted to have an understanding of what this rivalry is all about. And it goes down to his coaching staff. Naturally, you got Ricky, you got Chuck that's on that staff who can also let these kids know what it's all about. But the rest of the coaching staff know how important this game is, one of the oldest rivalries around, and, everything that comes along with it, as far as the true bragging rights of this state throughout the year. And, that's a great thing when you can go up north and say, hey, I dominate, I control this trophy, and come get it next year.
Now, you played in 4. Did you play in 4 games or 3?
I played in 4.
In 4.
My freshman year, we lost up there by 1 touchdown, and I still got that vividly in my hand when our tight end, he dropped the ball in the end zone, and it was raining.
People have been talking about that the 82 game when they came down here. They had already clinched the Rose Bowl berth, and people were carrying roses and that kind of thing. Did you guys get a sense that was like, look, this is our opportunity to spoil all this fun that they think that they're having right now?
Oh, by all means, and they was in the stands with their roses in their mouth. But even before the game started, David. There was a controversy that went on right before the game with the jerseys. That was the year of the jerseys too. That back in those days we only had 2 jerseys basically, and if they didn't clean your jersey, you had to figure out something else out going into the week. So we had to actually play in a different jersey because they came down here with let's just say for obvious for reasons, they came down with their maroon on, so we couldn't be in dark. So we had to play in our white. but we didn't prepare or they didn't wash those jerseys, so we had to play in our beat up old nasty jerseys. So that right there made for a little hatred within itself, because of the fact that he wouldn't let us play in the jerseys that we had, so we had to change jersey. And from the first snap, the first series with the offense, we marched down the field and with Brian Hollins and Tunnicliffe marched down the field and scored, and there was no looking back. And my great friend Joe Drake, my roommate, he had a couple of sacks and not sacks, he had safeties, in that game, and so it was. I mean, that was the start of everything. That 10-year streak that took place, and it meant a lot. It meant an awful lot to be able to dominate that, and feel the presence of what that rivalry was all about.
And what do you remember about '83 and going up there, and what you guys did defensively to put Max in a position to be able to win the game, and the offense in a position to be able to win that game?
Yeah, when '83 was Ricky senior year, and a bunch of other seniors that was Randy Robbins and guys like that was part of the defense per se. And it was important that the defense basically, in the third or fourth quarter, we had to figure out some kind of way of stopping their charge. And I think I can recall Ricky coming in the huddle and gathering all us together and say, you know what, we can't go out this way. We can't allow this to happen. And we as a defense, decided that this is not going to take place. We stopped their charge, and, we got Max on the field, and Max did his thing. And that's why Max got paid all the big money when he was in school here, because he was Mr. Automatic. I mean, Max was Mr. Automatic. And, and here again, you're dealing with a kid whose brother on the other side of that field.
Yeah.
That made it even more important for him, too, and the way he felt about their rivalry. And, and like I say, it was just you being a part of that, and you're on that, especially on that field up there, and being able to take something away from that team and those people that's up there. And me personally, when I graduate from the university, and I think I went to a game one time up there, as far as in that stadium, to watch us play, and I think I had my young kids. I had my kids with me. I made the decision to never walk back in that damn stadium. I would never walk back in that stadium and give them one penny, because of the way those people are up there. I mean, and they believe in the rivalry just like we do, but I think they take it a little further than what we take it. And I don't want to subject myself to it, or particularly no family members, because, the wrong me might come out.
Oh, wow. We don't want the wrong Lamont coming out now up there.
Right.
Some Sun Devil might.
But that's what the rivalry's all about, man. It is about the fans to, get themselves involved in the game and put their bite and their little flavor into it. But as long as we can keep that trophy down here at Tucson, that's more important than anything.
All right, Lamonte Hunley goes in front of the team with one message. What is that message?
My message would be for them is to, get your memories. It's that simple. Get your memories, because, I have mine. My memories is I was part of the street, as far as making that thing happen. I have my memories, of making a impact tackle on that field, to stopping a running back from going in the end zone or deflecting a pass that could have caused a difference. I have my memories of watching Max and Dayhouse kick that ball up the center and win the game for us. I have my memories of Brian Holland catching the ball running down the field. Those memories will stay with you for the rest of your life. So I tell you to go out there and just gather your memories, do something positive on that field, and make sure you got those memories implanted inside of you, where at the end of the game, the scoreboard is in your favor, because if it's not, it's gonna be in your belly for a long time. So make sure the memories are in your positive way and create your own, because we old folks, we got ours.
Get your memories. I like that, Lamont. Appreciate you, brother. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. We'll be here for you. All right, bear down.
Thanks to Coors Light for bringing you today's Arizona Insiders on Wildcats Radio 1290. Coors Light, official corporate sponsors of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day in Arizona.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. New reported collisions in the foothills, River and Campbell and River Road, 5th and Craycroft and 5th Street. Also expect wrecks that are clearing at Ajo and Country Club, a hit and run wreck, and the Keno Ajo connection ramp. Possible collision on the southbound side of I-19. Just south of Ajo Way, some slowing there. More backups for traffic at Irvington and Valencia at I-19. Ajo and Mission also busy. Clear skies, 51 are low. Sunny, 72 tomorrow and 67 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
Look at that. That guy just got a great deal during the red tag sale at O'Reilly Chevrolet. It makes me wonder, I went somewhere else. Did I pay too much?
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Hey guys, I have a riddle. I hate it already. I'm wearing a polar bear disguise to provide service with no compromise. You're an Alaska vacation. Wait, I'm not done. It's a vital annual task, even though I'm behind a mask. Alaska-fication. You're an Alaska-fication. Don't spoil it for Ron. Alaska-fication. When I'm done, you won't shed a tear, because your heater will be guaranteed for a whole long year. Who am I? Alaska-fication. How'd you guess?
Gary, everyone knows the Alaska-fication from Alaskan AC is the finest furnace tune-up in town.
Everybody also knows Alaskan AC guarantees no breakdowns for a year.
And everybody also knows it helps you save money on your utilities.
Wow, how quickly did you figure it out? As soon as you said, I like to dress up in costumes. I never said that. I know what I heard. Ron?
That kind of gave it away.
What do you guys know? I'm going to go take care of our customers with our world-famous Alaska vacations.
Schedule now at AlaskanAC.com.
Don't forget your fluffy tail. Oh, thanks.
Direct from Vegas, The Clairvoyance Holiday Spectacular. A brand new interactive show for the holiday season. Featuring mind reading, magic tricks, and illusions. With a special appearance by Mr. Coney Hondini, the world's first mind-reading dog. Saturday, December 23rd, 8 p.m. Diamond Center at Desert Diamond Casino Sahuarita. On sale at Desert Diamond Rewards Center or online at etix.com. Experience The Clairvoyance live.
Join David Kelly, J.W. Madden, Calvin Efon, and Glenn Howell at Soul Sports Saturday for the UFA football pregame show as we get you ready for the season finale versus in-state rival ASU this Saturday. Sponsored by Coors Light, official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Nothing like game day at Arizona.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Wildcat fans, Taco Bell is a proud sponsor of Arizona Athletics and has a great deal for you. Visit any Southern Arizona Taco Bell restaurant and buy any combo or value box and get 2 Arizona football game tickets for the price of 1. Receipt required for redemption at the McHale ticket office. Taco Bell is locally owned and operated and is looking forward to serving Wildcat fans. Bear down and live Moss.
Hello, and welcome to How to Save Money on Your Favorite Tobacco Products Unless You're Stupid. Please press 1. At Tobacco Barn, you can save up to 40%. That's right, up to 40%. Please press 2. There's also no state tax at Tobacco Barn because they're on the reservation. Please press 3. Plus, you pay no city sales tax at Tobacco Barn. Please press 4. And save another $3 with a coupon at TobaccoBarnTucson.com. To repeat these savings, please press 5. Save up to 40%. Save with no state sales tax. Save with no city sales tax. And save another $3 with a coupon at TobaccoBarnTucson.com. Please press 9 if you're stupid. Wow, you're about one taco short of a combo plate, aren't you? Don't be stupid. Save your money. Come to Tobacco Barn, Nogales Highway just south of Valencia. Check tobaccobarntucson.com.
Wildcats Radio 1290 has been through all the ups.
Throwing deep downfield, and that ball is caught. That's a one-handed catch by T-Mac. How does he do this? What a catch!
And the downs.
Picked off. I don't believe it. The third interception.
1290 is always there by your side to bring you all the raw emotion of the moments that matter to Wildcats fans. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. When the Arizona Wildcats take the field at Arizona Stadium this fall, you'll hear all the action of Wildcats football with Brian Jeffries behind the mic on your home of the Arizona Wildcats. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290. And now, the best thing you will hear all day.
Hachi-machi!
It's time for the Wildcat Radio Replay. In case you missed this earlier in the day, we now bring you the best of 1290. It's made possible by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, it's Territorial Cup week. The 97th Territorial Cup game Saturday in Tempe between University of Arizona and Arizona State University. Let's hear from the man who will lead your Wildcats onto the field Saturday at Mountain America Stadium. Head coach Jed Fish today at his weekly press conference over at the Lowell Stevens football facility.
Happy Thanksgiving week. So a lot to be grateful for. I hope all of you feel the same. So we will not do a press conference Thursday. We'll do it Wednesday so everybody can enjoy their time with their family. And we'll practice Thursday, and then we'll let our players head out after practice. We'll do a little family Thanksgiving with our team on Thursday morning. So all of our team and their parents and their families will have a nice Thursday morning breakfast prior to the start of practice. So looking back on the game, I thought it was one of our more complete games that we've played in the last 3 years. I think we've said that a few now weeks in a row, but certainly in that game, the way that situation went, from the get-go, I think we're holding that team to 3.2 yards per carry, us being able to run the ball at close to 5 yards per clip, getting a special teams touchdown, having 7 opportunities to score, missed on 2 field goals, but maybe it was 8 opportunities. 7 because of the punt. So, but all in all, I thought the team played extremely well, and was proud of our guys, proud of how they came out of the gates ready to go, and we're going to need that same type of effort this Saturday for the Territorial Cup.
Going 7 for 11 on third down against the best third down defense in the country, what stands out to you about how your team played against them?
Yeah, very efficient, obviously, on third down. We executed the plan that we wanted to put into place. We felt that we had some good answers to what they do on third down, and I also felt that our players did a great job of executing some plays outside of the framework of the play. But all in all, it was one of those games that I think we were 70% on third down until the last 3rd and 4, where we weren't going to force anything in that situation. You know, if it was there, I told Jaden you could throw it. If it's not there, just go down and use the clock. And then other than that, I don't think there was a third down. We kicked the field goal, I think, on third down. We tried to set up at the end of the half. But I was really proud of our guys on third down for sure.
Throughout the year, players talk about T-Mac and how he's talented at everything. Has there been one thing where you've seen him struggle?
No. The guy's unbelievable. I mean, he's unbelievable. I need to take him out on the tennis court, see if he's got anything there. Right now, he's 100 for 100 in everything else we've done. I always tell the story about in the spring, we did Olympics after the spring game was over. That Monday, we did a little bit of a fun team bonding session, and we did a home run derby. And it was with a wiffle ball bat. He went out there, swung the bat 6 times, and had 6 home runs. And the bat was like one of those small little bats, and 6 for 6 for 6 home runs. So there's not much he can't do.
This will be the first time that you're going into this week with it not being like a sense of finality on the season and all that, where there's something beyond it. Does that in any way change the approach and maybe not having to worry so much about the guys getting amped up because this is the end?
Yeah, I think it has to change the approach. Like, we can't be nearly as undisciplined as we were at the end of last year, or at the end of that game, I should say. Both teams, I don't think either team were playing for a bowl game. Guys were getting kicked out of the game. Guys were suspended for the first half of the next game. Guys were for the first game. Now we got another game to play, if not two. We can't be making any undisciplined moves that could prevent us from being able to be a full deck for the bowl season. Also, I think that rivalry games are fantastic and they're great and they're motivational, but you still need to be disciplined, and you still can't be playing in a manner that you're not understanding the game of football first and foremost. So, yeah, I think it's big for us to be able to have something afterwards. I think it'll force us to get back on the bus after the game, not try to stay in Scottsdale, and get back to work on Sunday. And then we'll spend a week of about 3 days of practice next week probably, and then find out what bowl we're headed to.
Two questions. One, you talked about the confidence that this team has after 5 straight wins. What's the line between confidence and being over cocky going into a rivalry like this?
Oh, there's no overconfidence with this team. This team, I've shared with them, like there's not a lot of people out there that talk about our program. Not a lot of people out there that talk about our team. Our guys are just, scrappy and hard-nosed and got passed over by a lot of programs to come here, and we like it that way. So we're going to continue to live in that world, remind ourselves of that, and do everything we can to get to this next win. But if we can get there, on Saturday to get to 9, that's great. But for us, it's just a matter of always remembering where we came from.
Showed his newcomers a video about the rivalry so they would really understand what it is. Do the transfers and the players that are newer really understand what this rivalry is about? What are you doing to kind of light that fire, I guess?
Yeah, I just showed them a billboard.
Two questions. We've asked you about Isaiah Ward in the past. I don't know if we've ever asked you a question about Anthony Ward, who obviously had a huge play. Maybe the biggest play in the game. What can you tell us about him?
Well, we put him on scholarship this fall. So what was pretty cool is we put Nas and Anthony both on scholarship, and those are the two guys that, if you could, remember the video, the play, Nas took the double team, which allowed Anthony to split him, so to speak, and get up to right there in front of the punter and block it. So it was certainly one of those that it was kind of a cool deal. It was kind of poetic. It was nice. And our guys loved it. Our guys when we watched it yesterday, it's just a great reminder. You work hard, you be a great leader, you do things right on and off the field. There's going to be times you can be rewarded. And we were able to reward Anthony with a scholarship before the season. Then the football guys were able to reward him with a punt block for a touchdown week 11. So really happy for him. Really, he does a really good job of keeping the team together. I think it was super cool. I talked to our guys. They did a study session Saturday night after the game as a full team. And when they did that, they were all together, from walk-ons to scholarship players, and they all hung out together. I think they said they were just studying. I don't know. I wasn't there. But from what I understand, they never the way our team works together and loves one another. I think you don't know the difference between a scholarship player and a walk-on. You don't know the difference between a guy that earned a scholarship in September and a guy that earned a scholarship 3 years ago when they walked in the door. And I think Anthony's a prime example of that.
Definitely have asked you about this before. When you're doing well, we pick some nits with certain things. Noah's deep passing, I think he's 0 for 4 on air yards of 20 plus. He's 8 for 27 for the season. Most of the misses have been the ones to outside the numbers. What do you think is going on there, and is it just a matter of throwing 1,000 passes like that in the offseason?
Yeah, I talked to Jimmy about that today, actually. That's something we have to get better at, is hitting on those. I look back, and I think we had, at this point in time, I think we're like 30, maybe, we had 132 explosive plays. Last year at this time, we have 107. This year, about 25 different. And probably comes to 1 or 2 passes a game that, we would like to try to hit on outside the numbers. There is some of it that goes into, have you thrown those balls to those receivers all spring? Have you thrown those balls to the receivers all camp? Maybe, maybe not. That could have a little to do with it. Could be when I call it. Maybe we haven't hit it at the right time. We haven't gotten the perfect look. Maybe we've left a couple. It feels like we've left a few outside, which doesn't give you any chance at all. So we're working through it. Some of it's fundamental, some of it's coverage, some of it's just connecting and throwing with the right rhythm and timing.
Early in the season, you guys had slow starts for a number of games, and then like at the USC game, I guess it was, that all changed all the way to what you guys did this last Saturday. Is there something you can point to that you fixed, an approach you changed, different play calling at the beginning of the game? What can you point to that caused that?
No, I think you guys were more focused in on the slow starts than I was, really. I know that there was a couple games that we only had 2 possessions in the quarter, and then we scored the first possession of the second quarter. And we scored against NAU. I know we all talk about the Mississippi State game, that we wound up going down 14-0 there. And then UTEP, I think we had a chance to score in the second drive, and then we fumbled the ball. So, I don't know. I just think it kind of happened that way. I think it was kind of meant to just, as the year went on, I think we were just going to get to a spot where we don't punt a lot. We try not to punt a lot. And I think we just early on, maybe we didn't hit on a couple things, but I never really saw it as big of a problem as kind of got addressed. But I don't think it's a big deal.
2 questions. First off, when you were hired, how long did it take for someone to tell you the significance of this rivalry, at least locally?
It was a huge part of really even early on when I met with I think that first day I did a Zoom call with former athletes that Coach Sanders headed up before he was on the staff. Dave got me in touch with, I think it was with Brandon Sanders, and had about 75 football alumni on. And I was, my job was to introduce myself to them. And I think their job was to kind of inform me a little bit about the history of Arizona football. And clearly, the game itself of the Territorial Cup is one of the most important parts of Arizona football. So probably that day, day one, it was brought to my attention. And then Teddy came to breakfast, as you guys all know that story, the next day. And I talked to him a little bit about the importance of the game. And I recognize the importance of the game because I know that I was hired after it.
And then there's an important game on Friday night, Oregon State. Do you openly discuss that with the team? Do you worry maybe if it doesn't go your way about the emotions and all that?
Yeah, yes and yes, but I don't worry about, I guess I should say yes. Our guys understand the significance of that game. I told our team yesterday we're Pac-12 South champions. They just decided to change the rules of the Pac-12 championship game a year ago. But if you look at it, we clinched it. We clinched the Pac-12 South. So our guys understand that that's a nice little feather in their cap. And to finish going into week 11, to finish ahead of the other programs, regardless of the outcome of the final week. The second part of it is there's no concern at all in my mind about the emotions of our team for this game. We are playing our bitter rival, and it is a duel in the desert. It is 2 teams in the state of Arizona going at it, and I have no concern that no matter what happens on Friday night between the 2 Oregon schools, that our play will be any different at 1:30 p.m. on Saturday.
All right, that was the Wildcat Radio Replay with the best of the best from 1290. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
That is the head coach of your Arizona Wildcats, Jedd Fisch, from his press conference earlier today. We'll hear more from him tomorrow, and he mentioned that we'll have a chance to chat with him again on Wednesday this week, normally Thursday. But Wednesday this week because of the holiday on Thursday. Interesting, he said there that they have anointed themselves as the Pac-12 South champions, which is kind of what we talked about early on. I mean, if the division still existed, we'd be booking our flights to Las Vegas.
Final season of the Pac-12, and Arizona are the Pac-12 football South Division champions. You got it. They are.
Couple things I want to touch on before we get out of here today. How about Lucas Haversick? We'll talk a bit more about this tomorrow. Lucas Haversick kicked the game-winning field goal yesterday for the Los Angeles Rams in their win, his first game-winning field goal in the NFL. So congratulations to Lucas Haversick, Arizona Wildcats alum. And we are just learning that Jalen Harris has been signed off the Chicago Bears practice squad by the Washington Commanders. So big news there for Jalen Harris, Arizona Wildcat football class of 2022. Earlier today, down in the Bahamas, the Arizona women's basketball team beat South Dakota by a score of 61-52. The ladies are now 6-1 on the season, as Mary Martinez had 14 points. Jada Williams, welcome to the party for the first time this season, scoring in double figures. Jada had 13 points. She knocked down a pair of 2 or 3-point shots in that ball game, as Mary Martinez, 14 points and 8 rebounds in that contest for the Wildcats as they wrap up their stay in the Bahamas with a record of 2-1. Helena Puello today, 8 points, 5 steals for the Arizona Wildcats. They've got a ton of time off before they take on the UNLV Rebels next Saturday night in Las Vegas. That's going to wrap up our show for today. Thanks to Cricket. Thanks to J-Dub. Thanks most of you for listening. Jedfish Radio Show. You'll hear more from the coach coming up next at 6:05. So stay tuned from that. If you're out at the Union Public House, enjoy that. I'm David Kelly. It's DK on the Sports Tip. We'll talk to you on Tuesday. Have a great night, everybody.
Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. Slowing on westbound Ina at Thornydale, southbound I-19 south of Ajo for more backups. Ajo and Mission busy, and southbound La Cholla at Ajo.